I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Oh, you know what they say. April 26, 1992, there was a riot on the streets. Tell me, where were you? You were sitting home watching your TV while I was participating in some anarchy. The first spot we hit it was the liquor store. I finally got all that alcohol I can't afford. With red lights flashing, time to retire. Then we turned that liquor store into a structure fire. Hey, they're burning LA down, but what's new? We're not going to be talking about all of that. Instead, we're going to be talking about some contracts, corruption, and government. There's a lot of stuff going on right now nationally, and I really am having a hard time not talking about it. I feel like we need to talk about it. It needs to be talked about, but it's being talked about literally everywhere else. You could go any place else right now and hear them talking about what's going on nationally. You could turn on all of your TVs and everything. At the same time, there's a lot of stuff going on at the state level, everywhere in all states. There's a lot of stuff going on, obviously, at the state level here in Indiana. There's a lot of stuff going on locally. A lot of stuff going on locally in Muncie. But there are things that I can't currently talk about at the moment while I'm waiting for some information to get into me and come in that I can actually talk about. I'm also waiting on some record requests. There's stuff going on in Henry County, but I'm currently checking into and getting more information on. I am also waiting for record requests out of Randolph County. There's also stuff going on in Henry County, if I said. There's also stuff going on in Randolph County and about the Union School lawsuit and everything going on there, but I'm waiting on some things from there. Still looking into what's going on locally in Grant County and, of course, Delaware County. Delaware County's kind of quiet, but Muncie's got stuff. I know some of you are going to be like, what? Catherine again? But I figured if we go ahead and get Catherine's show out of the way this week, then we can have at it with the rest of the stuff. But no, we're going to have Catherine on tonight because there was a really big, important meeting, and this is different, folks. This is something that actually got sent into the show. It came to my personal email about a week and a half ago, and they were like, hey, can you help spread the word about this Parks episode, this Parks meeting that we're going to have on Thursday the 5th? They're doing all this crazy stuff with it, so they did that. They had that. That was Thursday. There's a big meeting with it, and there's a bunch of crazy stuff, and there's a whole bunch of other things going on. So I told her that we would talk about that, and this just makes the most sense. So we're going to be talking about that in just a second. We're going to pull her on. You know it, Jeremy. That's what it is. April 26, 1992. If you know, you know. That's there. It doesn't matter that it's like 40 years later, but it's same shit, different day. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But before we bring up Katherine and the contracts, corruption, and government, I do just have to cover this just really quickly. And I just have to say, we broke the news. And I have to say this really quickly. It didn't make sense to hold it off until after the week got started and other people started talking about it. So if you were here on Thursday evening going into Friday, we listened to me discuss the situation with the OWI. And going into Friday morning, I heard that there was a big media outlet. Some of you will know who that is. Some of you might not. Who were claiming that the only way that we had that information is because they put out the information and that we then were able to find out what they put out and that we then talked about that information based on their information. And that is just absolutely 1000% not true. And so I have made a quick statement that I want to read in order to clarify any of this. And then it's the last thing I'm going to say about it. The Political Spotlight is a political commentary program. We are not citizen journalists. Okay, I want to be very clear about that. The Political Spotlight is a political commentary program that covers politics and the government happenings on the local, state, and or national levels. There are three of us that make up the core foundation of the Spotlight team: host Brandon Rudd, producer Kate, myself. Then there are several others that play significant roles in the team, and we would not have what we have here if we didn't have them. These are other folks that range from contributing correspondents like Dr. Katherine Callahan and Audie Barber and others that help with research, investigative work, or whatnot. People that I count that are not sources, but they're actually very helpful to the team. That's who we are. We are not auditors, although we are constitutionally minded, conservative-ish libertarians or libertarian-ish conservatives or whatever from that bent. There are a couple people that are maybe a little bit more liberal-leaning, but that's where we are. It is who he is, and I am's what I am, or whatever Popeye said. We are here to hold the government and politicians accountable. It doesn't matter what a person's political beliefs are or what our political beliefs are. We push for communication, transparency, and accountability. We are not journalist. We are not citizen journalist. We are not guerrilla journalist. As I have said multiple times, I look at it and I believe that what we best fit into would be the opinionated, you can call us assholes if you want, opinionated political pundits. We provide commentary on the topics, people, issues, and events covered in politics. That said, by the very nature of what we do and what we cover, there are times where we cover news or news-related information. We often break news. However, that's not our primary goal or worry. I never care about being first. I care about being right. We have different thoughts, opinions, and beliefs, and we all have been involved at varying levels of the political and or governmental process for various amounts of times. This is not a hobby or something that we do or that I do just for the hell of it or on a part-time basis. This is a full-time job for me. It is a full-time commitment for me. And while a lot of the other people that are connected to this program also have other day jobs, while it's not a full-time job for necessarily any of the other people, they do put a large amount of commitment into it. And I thank God for each and every one that's connected to me and to the show every day, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Kate and Niles and Brandon and Brandon's wife and Katherine and everyone else that helps out, and the people that help out, and all of our sources. We wouldn't be what we are if we did not have them. But this is a full-time job for me. I have personally been involved in politics at the local, state, and national level for over 30 years. I've seen and heard just about everything. That said, there's always something new that'll pop up, and every day, every meeting, every administration, every candidate, every election, everything always presents something new. I write and say all of this so that I can say the following. Information came to us. It came to me, Kristopher H. Bilbrey, via email from a source on Thursday, June 5th, 2025. I promptly informed the team about the email and the information, and we immediately began researching and verifying the details. We easily confirmed the information that was provided to us by contacting sources within the Tippecanoe Clerk's Office, the Tippecanoe County Prosecutor's Office, the Lafayette City Police Department, as well as sources with the Indiana State House and other sources that I have. The information that we received, along with the confirmations that we were able to make through our sources and the information available on public records that any of you can get, provided our team with what we needed to proceed during our Thursday night show, June 5th, 2025. That's precisely what we did. During our live program, episode 464 at 9 p.m. on Thursday, June 5th, 2025, I presented the details that we had about the OWI arrest of Jason Bo Baird, state representative from District 44. That occurred on June 22nd, 2018. We also covered the other unrelated information during that episode. Therefore, after the show ended, I created a new, shorter video that focused solely on the Baird arrest, and it runs for approximately 17 minutes, and it's up on our channel and our videos if you want to see it. Okay? It's easy to find. When we released that information about Jason Bo Baird at 9 p.m. on Thursday, June 5th, 2025, and then in the more significant way on Friday, June 6th, 2025, we were relying solely on the information provided by our sources or that we discovered ourselves. Period. We were not aware that any other stories or posts about that story had been made by any other media outlet until the early morning hours of Friday, June 6th, meaning 3 or 4 a.m., which was after our live program. The story has been well received. However, a handful of people have accused us of stealing this story or only running with it after obtaining information from another media outlet, and that is 110% false. First of all, this is stupid. Media covers stories. It is what we are. While we're not journalists, I do consider ourselves to be media. I want to be clear. When I received the information Thursday via the email source, I was aware that it was also being sent to another large media outlet. I was aware that I received it, and I was aware that another large media outlet received it. There were two of us. I was aware of that. And I was absolutely fine with that. It made sense. I assumed that the other outlet would run something with it and cover the information just as we had. It didn't take much to confirm the information, so I thought they would cover it soon as well. But honestly, I didn't give it much more thought than that, because to me, it's not about who's first, or it's about accountability. The source from which we got it wants accountability in government. We want accountability in government, and I know that the other media outlet wants accountability. To me, we're all on the same side, more or less. So I was shocked to hear that at least some of the ideas that we had taken this idea and were only able to run with a story came from people inside that media outlet. I was bothered by that. The honest truth is, while I am a listener of the other media outlet, I don't always tune in daily, and I certainly don't tune in and listen for whole strings of shows. At the time that we ran with this, I had no information from that other outlet. I was not aware that they had mentioned the incident in any way before we went live, and the fact that they had made a post, I was not aware of until 4 o'clock in the morning. It was only after we went live and broke the news with names, places, dates, and details at 9 p.m. Thursday that I saw the first initial post that the other media outlet posted at 4:36 p.m. on Facebook and 4:37 p.m. on Twitter. And that post simply said, was a state representative able to avoid scrutiny for years of an OWI due to typo? Stay tuned. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, there are 92 counties in Indiana, and I can't even begin to tell you how many police departments there are. There is no way with those few words was a state representative able to avoid scrutiny for years of an OWI due to a typo. Stay tuned. There's no way I would have been. I'm very good, but I would not have been able to decipher the information that I did from that post. And that was all they ever posted until they ran their story the next day. I didn't even see that post, however, until about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. The Political Spotlight went live at 9 p.m. on Thursday and released the story, names, places, dates, and details. Again, you can hear that information on our channel. The other outlet went live on Friday, June 6, 2025 at 9 a.m., and they released the same information about the OWI arrest of Jason Bobaird, state representative from District 44. They released the same names, places, dates, and details that we had released, which is great. Anyone and everyone in media in Indiana should release this information until State Representative Bobaird comes clean about this. I want it to be known that we here at the Political Spotlight have an excellent investigative research crew. We handled this story as we have handled everything else. The idea came from the connections that we've made by keeping sources confidential and by being stand up right on the money 99% of the time about what we cover. If we do wrong, which we seldomly do, but when we do, we own it immediately. While we don't have the same budget as an Indianapolis's number one conservative talk radio station, and it's obvious that we also lack the same reach, nobody's confused here. We do have a broad listener base across all the platforms that we are on, including YouTube, Rumble, X, Facebook, TikTok, and all of the audio platform podcast streaming services. I know that bothers some people, and I don't understand why. I don't ever say, oh, that radio station has 50,000 listeners. I'm just like, great, they've got 50,000 listeners. I don't understand why others are so caught up about the number of listeners we have or don't have. And it would really shock people if they knew how many people listen to each and every show. I don't understand. That seems like some kind of strange measuring contest. I don't understand. We're fans of the other outlet and firmly believe that we're all on the same side, doing the same work and attempting to hold those in power accountable. But by God, I will not be pushed around by anybody. And if they've got something to say or someone has something to say it to me. We did this work honestly, like we always do, and I will stand by this until this is a hill that I will die on. We broke this story. Sometimes the other station does, sometimes we do, sometimes somebody else does. I don't understand why that matters to them, but apparently it's been a big ordeal, so I don't know. But there we go. That's it. We broke the news. Sorry about you. Without further ado, here is Dr. Katherine Callahan. Oh, also, be able, since I haven't said it, like the show, share the show, do all that shit. Let's rock and roll.
All right, Madison County. We got issues. And as I was sitting here trying to do this, I can't get my Facebook to go to all the audience. It only has me that can view it. So I don't know if you can work on that. My Facebook with this post. So
I can find it.
Yeah, it says only me that I can see it. But while he's working on that,
yes. Are you mean, excuse me, you mean on your actual, yeah, I don't know why it always does that.
But I can't get it to revert back to
I'll
showing
get it. I'll fix it.
So here's something that just came through while Chris was giving you his dissertation, and I'm going to comment just a little bit on his sermon. We all have different people who are watching this tonight. There'll be a lot of Madison County people watching because I'm on the show. Other nights it's a lot of Delaware County people. So what's it really matter? We're all after the same goal, and that's truth and transparency.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's all about. Great. You hit, and sometimes we do have overlapping people who watch both. Well, great. Then maybe those people will get sick of it and they'll go tell people because they're tired of hearing the story. But you have to hear something 6 times to actually retain it. So I don't understand why everybody's so upset with it. Who cares? All we care about is that we get better. So what I just received for anybody who's from Madison County who's watching this, if you remember, Tuesday night is the council meeting that's coming up. That's going to be June 10th. I had asked in that meeting if we would be able to attend their special meeting. Now I'm being told that the public will not be allowed to attend the special meeting. It's the training session. So I'm not sure. I mean, I guess you can make your rules as you go up, but I want everybody to understand the Dr. Green that you nominated to be the president of this council, the Dr. Green that you people voted for, you are now seeing what a dictatorship looks like, and that we have passed one baton from Ben Gale to Dr. Green.
When did he decide this bullshit? Because at the end of the meeting, he said you guys could come.
He's been working on it. But you know what? I'm absolutely disgusted by it. Because, and I'm going to tell you something right now. I don't know if Bethany Keller is watching this show tonight. I have no idea. I have no idea if other elected officials are watching this show right now. But I'm going to tell you something. This is absolutely ridiculous. all this control, all this, oh, we're going to do this. Oh, you can't see that. This is craziness. This is beyond craziness. So what I want people to understand is,
you know what I'm just now thinking, and I hate this. We should have just not had a show tonight, and
Oh,
we
'cause
should
the
have had
game's
this
going on.
tomorrow because of the damn game.
but I don't care. People can
Whatever,
watch
go
this
on. They
later.
can watch it later. All right, yeah, go on.
I mean, you know, and just so many of you know, this is a hobby for me. I have a job. I have a full-time job that takes a lot of work, a lot of time. I should have actually been doing, you know, some other things with my actual job today. I don't generally take any time off of my work. I work from the time I come home on Friday night. I work all weekend, and I go back at it again on Monday. So, and that's how it's been all weekend. But today I took a little bit more time off so that I could put an apology out, because I did make an error. We do make an error. David Williams thinks I'm not a doctor, and I'm glad you said that. You know why, David Williams? You may think I'm not a doctor, but I'll tell you what, all the research in my posts put out that I pretty much can do the research and put in the work. So I've earned that degree. So, you know, back to Madison County, we have 7 people on that board. And perhaps Bethany Keller is going to continue her same passion for the people and transparency. Now, what's going to come to is this going to be a dictatorship where Dr. Green gets to do this with Rob Steele and Diana Likens? Or are they going to put this to a vote, and we're actually going to see that Christy Grabowski is going to keep her word to the people, Jody Nork's going to keep her word to the people, Jonathan Culp's going to keep his word to the people? Are we going to see that this will go to a 4-3 vote? Will they be able to vote for this? And the whole thing about Bethany making this, she's got to ask for a roll call vote. We are up for an election. We start elections in less than 6 months. I need her to have a count off that says, no, we are not going to allow the public to watch what we're doing. This is a meeting. I thought only executive meetings did you keep people out.
Yes.
So this will be an interesting process to watch. So
now,
I just learned of this like moments ago.
Real quick. So are you saying that the training meeting is going to happen before or after?
I don't know. When I thought it was going to happen after the meeting. I have no idea. I'm just getting this from a concerned citizen who just sent me a text message.
Because here's the way that this is. As far as I'm concerned, and I hope that Bethany or any of the other people are out there listening, as far as I'm concerned, they stated in their last meeting on the record that the public would be allowed to go to this.
Absolutely.
So if they hold their training beforehand, I don't think they can stop people from coming in.
So here's my big question with all of this. So you make a promise. I mean, that's politicians. You make a promise to the public, and then you have a secret meeting without posting it back to the public. So it's being said it's a private training after the meeting.
Yeah, okay, private training after the meeting.
Keller.
Yeah, okay.
So you tell the public one thing, then you're going to go do another thing, right? That's not, I mean, they're not keeping their word and this isn't new to Madison County. I mean, we're seeing it up in Alexandria. We're seeing it here at the Parks Board. This is a great lead into where we're headed with this, because this private training after the meeting is just craziness.
Well,
what is there to hide?
So
are they not there for us?
Real quick, so we can all be aware of the rules and the understandings here. So training sessions, and I got this. So we at some point we're going to have to do a show about Jenny Ruby, the new public access counselor, because I thought she would be good. I'm hearing she's an absolute turd. She's just absolutely horrible at her job. She's
David Williams at 710026348. Would you like it?
Yeah, or I just want to know when you guys are going to go on a date and get this out, get this over with. I can both start calling you Mommy, Mr. and Mrs. Mr. and Dr. Callahan.
That's right. That's right. As long as David Williams, his name's going to be used, right?
Yeah, you know, he's my nephew, so you know.
So,
anyways,
I mean,
but no, real quick. So hold on. So the under Luke Britt, he and I had a great big argument about this. When they do training sessions, it is up to them on whether or not they can allow them to be open or closed. So they can close the training session, and they have the absolute authority to do so, and there's nothing we can do. However, Luke Britt said it's stupid to do so. Those were his words. It's stupid to do so. And he always advised all of these government entities that he ever went to, don't do it. Just leave it open. Say there's no comments. Leave it open. Let them come in and watch, because elsewise you're going to let the people say, what are they hiding? What are they doing?
Oh, and there's plenty to hide.
Sure.
And here's the thing. Now everybody gets to see that Dr. Green is just an extension of Russ Willis. That Kelly Hewer is not going to be any different than Russ Willis.
Well, I don't
know
even know this guy has anything to do with Russ Willis. I think they're capable of being shitty people themselves.
Let me tell you why. That's how they always advised. Kelly Hewer, here, a recent thing with Kelly Hewer. She decided to send out postcards and she had a meeting with these elected officials, but she didn't invite all the elected officials. She invited who she felt she controlled.
Sure.
That's who she invited. Otherwise, you didn't get a postcard. Then fast forward, they blame the screw up, when I call it out, on a computer glitch. Well, that's funny, because all these other people that are elected officials that didn't get invited to that meeting got emails a couple days before you had that computer glitch.
Yeah.
So the reality is we are just putting different faces on the same cartel.
Well, sure. Here's the thing, though. So since it's going to be afterwards, the public needs to go to this meeting and say, President Green, you announced at the last meeting that we could attend. Why can we not? Are you not here for us? We would like to attend. We want to attend. And it can either be Bethany, or it can be Grabowski, or it can be Rob Steele. I don't care who it is, but one of those counselors needs to say, I want to make a motion that our training session is open for the public, that we allow the public, and let it die for lack of a second or whatever, but they need to have it. Somebody needs to have the balls to do it.
Well, and that's the whole thing. We're running for election. People are already announcing, what they're running for. And I'm telling you right now, I don't care who it is, but I think the only person who's got any type of transparency, honesty, integrity is Bethany Keller. Oh, yeah. So she is our only hope to make this recommendation. And here's what I'm going to tell you. I know that a lot of people want to accept Christy Grabowski's excuse over the fact that maybe Bethany didn't give them long enough to answer and say, hey, I'll second that, when she asked for the public to speak. Well, if that's the truth, she's going to second Bethany on this
she should.
On Tuesday night. So here's the redemption right here. She's going to have her chance to say, what's it hurt to second her? If the motion passes or fails, you did it for the people either way.
Yeah. Somebody that hates Bethany or whatever, I don't know if they hate her, you know what I mean? Someone that totally disagrees with her should be able to say, I second this, and then let it fall the way that it's going to fall under the evil cabal,
Exactly.
whatever. But yeah, there's no reason,
If we have to live with Dr. Green for the next 4 years, that's fine. But it's going to get a little warm. It's going to be a very, very hot summer. You might need, 2 blower fans to keep you cool if this is what you're going to do. So to start off the summer this way, it is what it is, but we'll keep moving forward. So I hope that several people pack that room on Tuesday night that are watching, to show that really you're going to turn all these people away for your special training. Well, what's the special training? Just to hide more corruption? We already know it's there. And here's a news flash to the council and everybody else. We keep finding it. I mean, we're clearly finding out that Kelly Hewer's incompetence, that she can't get a whole list of elected officials and invite them. Then we're finding out that the secretary, Kara Wilkinson, how incompetent she is, because she should have had a list up together. Well, she couldn't even attend the meeting. She's too busy. I mean, and what it is they're trying to raise money for their new party. I think it's called I don't know, freedom and something, faith and freedom or something. I don't know, something. And the thing is I have no use for their group either because they're going to continue. They're already showing us how they're going to pick and choose. Nick Freeman's doing a horrible job. He said he would communicate better. And so when I inquired about getting this information, then they're like, no, we can't give it to you. Rick Gardner, when he found out it was, I personally asked all of them on text. Rick's like, well, I don't know who this is. I told him it was me. He just ghosted me and wouldn't even tell me anything. So, the only way to change any of this, we've got to elect different people. You've got to get people signed up to vote. You got to get them to the polls. We got to get this corruption out of there. I mean, our only saving grace on that council has been Bethany Keller. I hope she runs again. If she does not run again, we are in deep trouble unless we can find somebody with her ethics, morals, and values. And I've not always agreed with Bethany Keller. I mean, we have had our differences, so I don't want anybody to think here, no. Bethany, we've had times where we've not seen eye to eye on things, but her actions have spoken loudly on that
Absolutely.
board. I mean, and I can't argue with that. Has she been perfect? No, she hasn't been perfect. Have I been perfect? No, I haven't been perfect. But have we learned? Yeah, we've learned and we've grown. So hopefully she'll do it. I mean, she's managing and she's got 3 or 4, little toddlers, and it's a lot of work that she puts into this, and you can see it. She's not flipping through pages when she gets there. She's not reading from scripts or emails when she gets there. You got Diana Likens. She shows up and she can't even think for herself. So,
yeah, it's crazy.
We hope that, and here's the thing. Am I that upset about the public? No, I'm kind of intrigued by the fact that they actually did it, because it just shows we don't have change in leadership. I mean, that's the great thing about it, is that Green, I get to say I'm right again. I win. I mean, this is the great part of doing all this. And so go ahead, do what you want, because our safety net is at least we have one person, and that's all it takes is one person to have honesty and integrity and transparency. And Bethany will not forget what goes on in those meetings, and she will put it out there to the public if something comes up in one of our meetings. And that's all we can ask for. So it is what it is, but I hope that room is full and they all look at Dr. Green. And I hope some of you people get up there and you stand at that podium and say, I voted for you. And this is how you treat me. I gave you my vote, and now you don't want my voice. Tell you guys that all the time. Quit voting for these people who want your vote, but don't want your voice. And I hope if some of you are patients of Dr. Green's, you can tell him what a horrible job he is doing, listening to the community and representing us. I do hope you do that. Because believe me, when I hear it from my patients all day long about what's going on. So as we move forward, we have 2 hot topics tonight. And, I'm really just tired of the friends and families benefits package of this county. And a lot of times we don't know who's getting paid until after the fact. But somewhere along the road, someone is getting paid. So we're going to talk a little bit about which one do we want to start with? I'm going to start with Alexandria.
I don't even know what we're talking about, Alexandria. What are we talking about, Alexandria?
So Monroe Township up there, they let me see. Let me send this. Monroe Township is gonna they're gonna do a regional utility district. Do you want to do that one first?
Yeah, we can do that.
So I think I posted it to your page. Do you want to bring that up? We can kind of read that and bring everybody in. Oh, the secret trip. Well, Cindy, the whole thing with the secret trip is we were going to go on this secret trip until everybody lost their nonsense about this breaking news that we did.
Yeah.
And then the heat got a little.
Yeah, hold off about that. I'll send you a message, and I think I'm going to do something about it. I've got to wait. I don't want to say anything more about that until I find out what happens tomorrow. Yeah. And then we'll talk about that.
Yeah, this might be a tomorrow night show.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. It was just crazy. It was just craziness.
Yeah, nonsense happened after. Hey, it's insane, man. Sorry. I was messing around in your account trying to figure out that private thing.
Yeah, I can't find out what's
I know it's because we're live. I don't understand why that is, but I'll fix it when we get off live here. Let me get back into mine.
So if you go to Facebook.
Hold on, I'm gonna get back into my thing.
Or I can send you which one we want to talk about.
Hold on. Yeah, send it to me. Send it to me because I'm just now getting back into my account.
All right. So let me see here. This is a big deal in Monroe Township. I got this late. Was it Friday night that I got this? I got this late. I think it was Friday night because yes, I got it really late Friday night at 11 o'clock. People, I want you to understand these posts take me hours to do. This is not, I mean, Christopher said to me the other day, he said, are you still dealing with your patients? Because I messaged you at 5:30 a.m. Listen, literally from the minute my feet hit the ground, usually about 5:30 in the morning, it's nonstop. And it takes me a long time to write these posts. So this is the post that has to do with Alexandria, Monroe Township. I don't know if everybody got this letter. Do you have that, Christopher?
Yes. Give me 1 second.
And I would put it up on mine, but then people message me all the time. And
yeah, I just turn my messages off when we're on the thing. When that's why I have two things going. But yeah,
right.
Give me
so, okay, David. We were talking about the fact that Dr. Green has decided not to let the community watch the special meeting for the county council that's going to happen after the scheduled county council meeting. He must have some top secret ideas of how much more he wants to abuse ARPA funds. I have no idea. I have a strange feeling that they're also going to want to talk about the abuse from Commissioner Richwine, Pratt, and Gardner on that interest money and how they're going to have to find a balance with them, which I don't think there should be any balance that should be struck. We got so many pressing needs in this county. Those commissioners don't need jack of anything. Just saying. Yeah. So, again, the clock is still not working outside the county building.
Wait, back up. David, where are you from? Indiana? Like, are you from one of our counties?
What doesn't matter. I think he is. I think he's from Monroe Township.
Okay.
And then, so a lot of that stuff still isn't fixed. And here's what I'm finding out. Okay, so for Madison County viewers, this is what's happening in our local government. So what's happening is say I'm an elected official. I call Christopher and I say, Christopher, I've got $7,000 in my advertising line item. I'm taking bids. Can you let me know what you can do? So Christopher's like, hey, absolutely. I'm going to bill you $6,975. And that's why if somebody's auditing these accounts, that's why you'll see $50 left, $5 left, because that's how they're doing it. And that's not, it's not right. It's not fair, but that's what's going on amongst these departments, and it's wrong. So if I could get up to the podium and I could talk to the county council, this is what I would say. We will no longer give you any money in other services or charges. We will no longer give you money for any type of funds. If you want something done in your department after the budget has passed, because you cannot put a budget together, you bring me those 3 bids. Then I'll tell you if you can have the money. Because it doesn't seem to me that they can do the right thing in their departments. So if we give them, $500,000, they go to their friends, they're making deals so that they benefit no more. It has to stop. That is the only way I would approve money anymore in this county, because that corruption and incompetence is out of control. But here's the thing. If the county council allows this to go on, they may find themselves in a terrible situation later on. Just like the whole situation down in Columbus, where that clerk treasurer took over $1 million and was doing all kinds of, events and plane rides and all those things. Well, guess what? The council approved that. The council signed off on all that. So the council's just as responsible. I'm telling you right now, if I was Bethany Keller, if I was Christy Grabowski, anytime anybody asked me for money, I'd say no.
Well, yeah.
Because when this comes back, I would say, oh, no, I voted no every time. It's going to pass because you got Diana Likens and Rob Steele and Jonathan Culp and Green on there. Well, you let them take the hit for it. You don't need to take the hit for it. So that's just my thought process. So now moving forward, we're going to talk about Monroe Township. We're going to bring this up. If Monroe Township, somebody called me the other day, Monroe Township is Alexandria. So everybody
I also
understand.
want to say for the people in Muncie, Delaware County, there is a Monroe Township in Muncie,
Oh.
Delaware County, and it's not what we're talking about. We're currently talking about the Monroe Township that is solely within Madison County's borders. If you live in Monroe Township in Muncie or Delaware County, this has nothing to do with you.
Yes. And so here is what we've got for Monroe Township residents. From this letter that people have received, it looks like this is a done deal. Like they're going to go through the motions and they're going to have their meeting. Is that meeting June 18th? Can you bring that first picture up? I think the meeting is June 18th. And again, if you go to my page, you can see these things. But it says pretty much on there, yeah. So this went to the family that is being most affected. They're the ones who turned this all into IDEM. And they got a letter at the end of May saying they're going to go forward. They're moving forward on this, which is news to everybody.
Meeting date on here.
Huh? Okay. It'll be on another page. So this at the top, it says there, as part of Madison County Regional Utility District, these activities are to gather important data. Will help us plan and execute the project effectively. Well, what do you mean? When Bethany Keller asked for the people to speak, Jessica Baston stood at the podium and said the people will be heard before this is implemented. Not according to this letter.
Yeah.
Not according to this letter. And I'm telling you, if you're in Monroe Township in Alexandria, Madison County, you need to be so mad about this. You need to fill that room because this isn't right. Does it have to be fixed? Absolutely. But we need to find out how we're going to pay for this. These people have had 3 or 4 years. Actually, they've had decades. But IDEM got on them 3 or 4 years ago and started finding them. There's no reason that the public hasn't had input. This is why Bethany fought so hard to get the public to have input. You know why? Because she knew probably that this is how they would backdoor everybody. So here's what I'm telling you. You have 7 people on the council in Madison County. 6 of them need to go immediately. Because right here, they just backdoor the community.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you right now, we'll see how they conduct themselves on Tuesday night. If Bethany hopefully will ask, that's a lot of pressure we're putting on Bethany, but we'll see what happens on Tuesday night if she'll ask for the people to be in attendance and take a roll call.
Somebody has to step up. I guess it doesn't have to be Bethany. It could be any of the 7.
I don't know anybody else on that team who can do it.
That's what I'm saying. Bethany seems to be the one that has done stuff like that in the past.
Yeah,
but it could be any of them.
Yeah, and let me get real clear with you. It's not that they're unable. All 7 of them. None of them are unable. But you got 6 of them who are just point blank unwilling.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. And so, doing the right thing is a hard thing. Telling the truth, you make a lot of enemies. But it's the right thing to do. So we've got this whole thing going on here. This letter, I doubt that has gone out to the community, but up there in Monroe Township, I would be very, very upset with this. So as we move forward, this one right here is when it tells you when it is. It's going to be at the fairgrounds in Beulah Park for people. This is a public notice. It's going to be the 18th of June, I believe, which I think that is next Wednesday. It'll be in the Emory Lee building. That room needs to be shoulder to shoulder packed standing room only. If you think this does not affect you, if you read this public notice, it says all of Monroe Township will be affected.
Now, wait a minute. Not next Wednesday, a week from this coming Wednesday. This coming Wednesday is Wednesday the 11th. So it'll be it's like a week and a half from now.
Right. What has happened here is that Rich Wine and Lichens spent all the drain money years ago on their properties, on drains that didn't even need to be fixed.
I always heard that. Way
right?
before I even got involved, with Madison
Yes.
County shit, I always
Yes.
heard that they had done that.
If you look at your tax bill, you should have a line item on there that goes towards drains, right? I mean, it should be on there. It should be part. If it's not coming out, then that's an assessor issue. That's an auditor issue. That's all their issues, right? So, and I would like the county council to be asking, why is there no money in the drains if it is coming out on taxes? So people need to pull their property taxes and see if there's a line item that's coming out on your property taxes. What they're going to do is they're going to take everybody who lives in Monroe Township, even the farmers, even if you've been on a well, and they're going to build this regional utility, and they're going to make all of you pay into this regional utility and create either a more increased bill or a new bill that you're not used to paying. And right now, people are having a hard time putting food on the table as it is. So that's going to be even more difficult for people. I mean, they just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper in people's checkbooks. What is it going to take for the people to push back and say, we're not letting you have any more of our money? We work too hard for it. Just because you guys can't balance your checkbooks, just because you guys don't know how to manage your money, does not mean that you're going to penalize me for this. So this is the meeting. I've posted it all over. I do hope this will be a full room. And do you have a couple more pictures on this slide? This is what I don't understand. They're getting 5.5 million in interest. They're fussing over. Why doesn't that go to the drains up in Monroe Township? Why are you that interest? That interest came from ARPA money. That's the people's money.
Yeah.
So why aren't you giving it back to the people? Dipwad Rick wants to put it towards a clock, $40,000, wants to put $100,000 into rehabbing a building. This is ludicrous that the public even allows this. And this is why you need to show up at the council meetings, because you need to tell these councilmen, no, this has got to stop. This is awful. They shouldn't get a dime of that 5.5 million. They had a budget. Now listen to me. They have 5.5 coming from this off of ARPA fund. They've got 9 million going to the jail and ARPA fund, which is illegal. You cannot use ARPA funds on jails. Okay, you just can't. There's certain parts of them, but not what they're trying to apply this for. So what they're trying to do is manipulate that 9 millions to look like they used it in the right spot. I'm telling you, we're going to get an audit. A couple of years from now, you're going to come back to this video and say, Catherine said we were going to pay that back. So you got 9 million there. They got $4 million that of ARPA fund that they made a special board and everything within the last 2 years, even though they knew these drains needed to be fixed 3, 4, 5 years ago. They developed this board that they're going to dump $4 million into a park trail that's going nowhere. No way to maintain it.
Tumblefoot.
They want to hire 6 people to maintain those trails. We can barely make budget now. I don't want to hear a word about we can't make budget in a couple months.
Yeah, right.
So now where are we at? We're at 5.5 plus 9. So now we're at what? 14.5 million. Take that 14.5 million and let's add another 4 million. Now we're at 18.5 million. And then, as if that's not enough, the health departments are responsible for a large amount of this screw up with these drains. Okay. So now the health department bought built a $900,000 pole barn because they couldn't rehab something else, or they couldn't leave it in the EMA building. And then they took a $500,000 RV, right? So that's what, $1.4 million of grant money. So now what are we up to? We're up to 18.5. Now we're up to 19, almost $20 million that could have been dumped into Monroe Township. And this would have cost the taxpayers nothing.
That's crazy.
This regional utility thing would never even had to been developed. But I'm going to tell you something. If you allow this, it's going to continue until they bankrupt the county and they bankrupt you. So this is all this is going on, and these are all the pieces. And the reason why I have so much going on at once, because people will say, Catherine's got too many things going on out there. Well, they all bleed into each other. I mean, just the whole thing. They shouldn't be giving another dime to the commissioners. Look at how much the commissioners are killing us in lawsuits. Because that's how they look at it. Well, if you don't agree with how we're going to do this, then sue us. Well, you sue them, you get it right, they have to pay out for it. I mean, at this point, for everything the commissioners get sued on, the commissioners need to pay it out of their pockets.
Oh yeah, no
That's
question.
what needs to start happening. And maybe they'll either resign or they'll start working for the people. So, and then what other pictures do I have with this? Just so people can go through. And this is where Bethany Keller has held them accountable for some time. She tried to delay this. She wanted to get people to be able to speak. They wouldn't allow the people to be heard. So if anybody thinks Jessica Baston's a good engineer, you got to screw loose. The woman is incompetent. Let me tell you something. She is a Rose Holman graduate. And I got to tell everybody something right now. She needs to go back to Rose Holman. She needs to request a refund on her education. Because let me tell you something. They did not educate this woman. She was asked to leave in Pendleton when she oversaw the projects there. Look at her resume. She barely holds a job for longer than 4 or 5 years. Most of the jobs are about 2-year stints and she's done. So this is a whole thing within itself. So, and I don't know what they're talking about, Westdale. Maybe they're talking to you and not me. Is that all the pictures I have up of that? Because I think
you post something about Westdale. When are you talking about KK Row? Can you give a little bit more information on that? You mean like 6 months ago? When did I post something about it? Or tell me what you're talking about.
Keep going on those pictures. And so, again, here's the order. Here's the fines. And here's the thing. The commissioners want the public to believe that this is a resident issue. Hello, everyone. If this were a resident issue, the commissioners wouldn't be getting fined. So I just want everybody to know you don't fine the commissioners when it's somebody else's responsibility. So if you are believing anything these commissioners are saying, I got swampland for you. Okay, keep going on. And these are just just keep going. These are just all the articles to support the data. Keep going. There's one picture I'm looking for. Keep going. Keep going. And you can read all this. I'm not going to bore you with all that. Malfeasance. That's important. That is the wrongdoing, especially by a public official. Just so you know that. Again, Bethany is out there fighting for the people. So she did a public meeting for everybody.
We're still going?
Yeah, this just says it's a threat to human health, and the health department did nothing. This is the special ordinance, that one that they just put up. That's a special ordinance that the commissioners came up with so they could take the 5.5 million and be real slick about it and think they could get away with it from the council. And then keep going. Keep going. This is actually what's happening out there. The commissioner should have fixed that.
Going back to that?
No, you're not going back. This clearly shows you how old this project's been an issue. It's been a long time. Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
What?
Is it? Okay, go back. Go back one. Go back.
Pause real quick. K Row, like, dude, what are how old are you? 12, 13? I'm not talking at the moment. This is my show. The guest is talking. She's not talking anything about Gaston or Westdale. This is not about Gaston or Westdale. If you're interested in knowing about something I talked about 7 months ago, you could go back and click on that video and watch it and see what I had to say about it. Or you'll have to wait just a few moments until we're like at a pause, and then I can figure out what you're talking about. You're not even asking anything. You're asking why I talked about Gaston and Westdale because there was some shit going on. That's why I talked about it. Go watch the video. God.
Okay. So right. Go back, just go backwards. And I want to show people right here, right there. Go forward one.
Forward.
Listen, you cannot use money to build the jail. Okay? Okay, go forward. So I'm saying there's all kinds of money out there that's an issue. It's not like nobody didn't know anything. So, yeah, I mean, they'd rather restore an old building that they have no purpose for
yeah,
than give you know. I'm just trying to. Okay, this is it. This is what I want you to show you. This is when Lee Walls ran for election in 2019 for 2020 for surveyor, and he point blank shows how Richwine is using county money to replace and fix his drains on his farmland. People, this is madness. So that's the part about Alex Monroe. If you're watching tonight from that area, I highly encourage you to bring up these points. You need to be in commissioners' meetings. You need to be in council meetings. You need to flood those rooms and put a stop to this. It has to be fixed, but it needs to be fixed by the commissioners and their budget. That is the bottom line. And this should have been addressed 3 or 4 years ago when they had ARPA money of $24.9 million. They could have allocated for this. And I don't even want to hear about that it's already spent, because here's the deal. The $4 million for the parks and trails still hasn't gone anywhere. So, I mean, I don't know if it's past the deadline where they can allocate it, and they've allocated to that, but they've made a major screw up. They need to say they've made a major screw up, and they need to redirect all these funds. So I'm just telling you what's going on with all of that. That's my peace of mind. I don't live up in Alexandria. People ask me all the time, why are you doing this? Because I care. Because these people, many of them are my patients. There's E. coli in the water. They are getting sick. There are cancers up there. That's why. Because I care.
Because it's in your county.
Deserve better.
Well, yeah. What's affecting them now? Who knows when it's going to be going on somewhere else? So, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sick and tired of Gardner standing in council meetings, and he's asked like an auditor question, and he's like, well, I don't know. I'm not the auditor now. Listen, I'm starting to be concerned that you're Joe Biden. Okay. If you cannot remember things from 6 months ago, you need to resign right now.
Yeah, right.
You were in that role for 8 years. If you are totally that incompetent that you cannot remember things, then we need to have an evaluation. We need to do a slums test on you or something and find out what your memory's like before we let you go on any further. That's all I got to say to that, because he should be able to answer for all of this stuff. Because I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm going to tell you one thing he didn't forget about. He didn't forget about that $5.5 million of interest money, now did he?
Yeah.
So don't tell me that you're going to have this selective memory, because I'm over it. So yes, Gardner was a huge disaster. You people, and I have the right to say you people keep putting in auditors who have filed for personal bankruptcies, recent bankruptcies prior to their running. Gardner did it in 2012 or 2013, then he becomes auditor. Culp did it in 2024 during the time he's running for election, and you vote him in. Call me crazy.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go on to the Parks Department. Now, the Parks Department, and we're going to start with the apology first. But I'm wondering, Kristopher, if you can bring up in Messenger, I just want to show people.
The apology. I've got no idea what you're talking about.
So Messenger in the group one, I just sent you a link that's an ethics violation. Do you see that one?
In the group is
Madison County
flood. A video of the flood.
I just sent it to you again.
I got it right there.
Stay with me. Tonight I'm on my A game.
Just sent it.
No, it's before 2. Okay. People, I want you to understand this ARPA money is a big deal. I don't care where you're at, where you're living at. If you're watching this show tonight, it affects every county, every state, everything. Okay. ARPA money went to everybody.
Every city, every town. Yeah.
Okay. Right here is the ARPA.
Oh, no. I see where we're at. There's
okay.
ARPA.
Ethics violation against Wallingford Town Councilman over ARPA funds. Okay. When he pushed for the $182,000 in American Rescue dollars to be allocated to a nonprofit organization where he served as an officer.
Okay.
You know what, David Williams? I'm going to tell you something. If you don't start following my page and brushing up with your comments, the E. coli level should be less than 1, and their E. coli level in their water is greater than 200.
Whoa, I didn't even know that. That's insane.
Yes, and I have the documents and I've posted them on other posts. So yes, there is E. coli in everybody's water. Where does E. coli come from? It comes from stool. It comes from not washing your hands. That's where it comes from. It shouldn't be in high volumes in our water. But when sewage is backing up and it's getting into the environment, it's contaminating. This is when you get high E. coli levels. So drink up there. So
Bottle of water, baby.
And if you're worried about your water and you don't want to pay money right away and you want to see, take a glass of water, put a lid on it. My friend Sean taught me this. Put a lid on it, put it in the sun for several hours and let it sit. And if it turns colors or you see particles in there, it means you probably need to have your water tested.
Yeah.
So anyways, but I can't take credit like I'm some smart genius. So I have to give the genius plug to Sean when I can. He's all about saving money. Okay, so here's a conflict of interest. There probably was no conflict of interest on file. This is a big deal. We're seeing this happen everywhere, just like I showed you for the jail. It's an ARPA fund violation. So this is just stuff I want people to begin to think about and watch. All I can do is bring it to you guys, and hopefully other people will dig into this as well.
Well, the thing is, and here's what people need to understand is the ARPA thing is not, it's changed so much from what it originally was for, and it's changed so many times and
It's
so
hard to keep
frequently.
up with.
Like the very last time they just changed it was just a couple of weeks ago. They changed again what it could go for and what it could be for and what that couldn't be for and all of these things. And what they have to understand is the people that is doling the money out have to be aware of all of these. That idiot is literally now commenting on shows from 7 months ago, thinking that I'm live and talking to me on those shows like I'm live. What is going on up there in your Westdale school system, people? What is going on? Brain dead kids, man. Anyways, that kid that was on here talking a little bit, now I'm getting comments from a show 7 months ago like she's talking to me like we're on there live.
Oh, okay.
Go on. Anyways,
so this leads me into the next part. If you go to Messenger, I just sent you the next one I want to talk about.
Okay. Okay, I see her now.
What would you like to know, David Williams? I'll send you a bill in the mail.
Maybe you guys need to get a private doctor's room.
No, we don't.
Where? What am I clicking?
There are no pills I have for David. There's nothing I can do to help David.
This here.
Okay, so this is the first one. This is the first article that came out in the paper after the meeting at the Parks Board. If you have not seen this Parks Board meeting, I highly encourage you to watch this. The first 15 to 20 minutes of the meeting, this was supposed to be a meeting for the public. It was, we had to listen to everybody on the board's resumes. And they had to tell us how smart they were and what they've done with themselves. And let me tell you something. If you spout out all that information, tooting your own horn, you should have had a lot more answers for the public. I can tell you this right now. If David Williams asked me a question right now on this forum, I most likely would be able to answer him right now based off the knowledge that I have. I mean, I've been a nurse for over 30 years. I've been an NP for 25 years. So that's my big thing. So we have these listening, this was supposed to be a listening session only.
Yeah.
So they have all these questions, but they have no answers. So this project's been in motion for several years.
That's what everybody kept saying. Yeah.
Yeah. The board's been stacked with at least 2 board members with questionable intent. And at the time when I wrote this article, I did not find any conflict of interest forms submitted. That was an error on my part. I own that. I made an error on that conflict of interest. Ben Orcutt, the president of the Parks Board, owns the only bicycle shop in town. Now, maybe some of you don't feel that that's a conflict of interest, but most would say that warrants a conflict of interest statement to be put on
I would think it would be.
The other one works for an engineering firm, and that's Rachel Christensen, and I've got lots to say about her. So Rachel Christensen is best friends with Jessica Baston. Here we go again with the friends and family benefits package, because I'm over it. The big deal is those two are president and vice president of the board. Now, Ben Orcutt, he's very nice. I like Ben. I don't have a problem with Ben, even though he thinks I do, because I've pointed out the obvious. It's in Alexandria, David, if you follow along. And so, and I love David Williams, so don't think I'm being short with him. So anyways, let me get back to where I'm at. David, you're making me lose my train of thought.
I'm going to smack his butt and send him to bed.
Right?
He's my nephew.
So President Ben Orcutt, he treats the public very nice. He speaks very nicely. He's very calm. He's very kind when he delivers his message. But for some reason, Ben did not control the meeting, and he allowed Rachel to take over.
Yeah, that was weird.
That was craziness. Now, Rachel works for HWK Engineering, who was awarded a $250,000 ARPA contract. And she works as a consultant for the Madison County Planning Department and is apparently actively working a project. And that's ARPA money is what she's got. Perhaps this is the reason behind her very curt and authoritarian attitude to the community. But word on the street is there was a gentleman by the name of Tim McClintock who was the town manager for over 40 years in Pendleton. She was his assistant. Word on the street is Tim's wife was not very happy with the working relationship. Now, he'd worked for the town for over 40 years, and the wife actually went into town hall and was like, either she goes or he goes. I've heard some speculations, but I'll leave that up to the viewers. But the word is that Rachel wants to be the first female town manager in Pendleton. Some say the first female town manager in the state. I don't know if there's other female town managers in the state.
I would be very shocked if that was the case.
I would be too. Well, and if anybody thinks back, if you're from Pendleton, those meetings got off the rail. Jessica Baston was on there. Jessica Smith was on there. Rachel was on there. And it would get into hissy fits and hammering, where Jessica Smith eventually resigned. They asked Jessica Baston to leave, and then Rachel. So they got rid of all of them because it was such a nightmare. So there's some very key points that were left out of the article if you took the time to read it. One is the biggest thing, there are no answers. I mean, they're just going to wear you down. And here's the thing. Rachel continues to tell people all the time, and she's like, if you have the same thing, I don't want to hear it twice.
I get so sick of hearing.
Who are you to tell me? Maybe somebody else has a different delivery.
I get so sick of hearing from all of these meetings that we are here. We're not here to go back and forth with you. We're not here to talk to you. We're not here to listen to you. Okay, we are here to listen to you, but we're not going to talk to you. Basically what they're telling us is they are never ever going to give us answers. We can never ask a question and get an answer. That's not what they're planning to do, and it's so tiring. When is the ever time for questions and answers, please? Because half the people that show up today to ask questions, and they're going to have a meeting in 2 months from now, they're not going to provide the answers to it's so nonsensical, and I get so sick of hearing that. And yeah, they say, like, if you're showing up and there's people that's already said what you're going to say, don't come up and say that same thing. Bullshit. I want to come up and say the exact same thing.
Well, here's the thing. Dr. Jones came to the meeting in May.
Yeah.
Dr. Jones asked, what are they going to do about the safety on the trails? They've had a month to prepare for this. Why didn't they come back to tell us?
Yeah, have an answer.
What they're going to do about the safety? I mean, Rachel, you want to sit there and scold everybody that you don't want to hear it twice? Well, then why don't you bring some answers to the table? So this is her resume. You get to look at Rachel's resume. I just shake my head. And here's a breaking news from Kate. In Brownsburg, Indiana, Deb Cook is the current town manager. She was appointed in January of 2022 and is the first woman to hold that position in Brownsburg. Sarah Miller is the town clerk treasurer of the town of Hamilton, and she was previously the assistant town manager. Katie Barr is the town manager of Whitestown. Hannah Walker is the town manager of Huntertown. So, you know what, Rachel? Unless it's for Pendleton, you've lost your wad there, buddy.
You know what I want to do? Where is Katie at? Katie Barr?
I don't know. Where did we just say that? Was that? Listen, I got to go back. It's so difficult.
I would just like to say, I'd like to be sitting in there with her one time, and she would be there, and I would say,
Katie Barr is the town manager of Whitestown.
Yeah, I'd be sitting.
You know her?
But it'd be fun to be sitting in there, and someone would be coming in from the parking lot. Right as they got up right as they were getting ready to come in, I'd be, Katie, bar the door. And then I'd get up and leave.
You just like the name.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. I guess that other non-live thing got too much. Tonight we are talking about the contracts, government, and corruption in Madison County.
Gary needs to go ask Tim what happened to Rachel McClintock in Pendleton. That's what, Gary, if you're friends with him, go find out and let me know.
I'd be interested.
So then, the other things with that post is I'm telling you, the citizens, if you haven't watched this video again, citizens did a great job. They asked that board, they said, how many of you people are going to be affected or live where these bike trails are going to go?
Yeah.
None of them.
There were a couple. Yeah. That one guy that stood up near the end, the guy that joked about liking bikes, even though it didn't look like it. And he had the blue shirt on, was kind of the bigger guy. Looked like maybe he was in his late 50s. Looked like he was a little bit of money. Very well put together. Talked very well. He's the guy that turned around and was like, okay, I'm all for this. I'm all for everything. You're here to fix problems. We're going to let you fix problems. But right now, like, how many of you are here for it? And he's like, okay, there are 7 people in here for it. And the crowd was packed. So the seven was way crazy. And then he was like, now of those 7, how many of you live out there by it? And he was like, one. Well, KK Row, I have some information about that. Some people just sent that to me. I'm looking into it, and as soon as I feel that I've got enough I can talk about, I am going to mention something about that, but it'll probably be a couple days. I don't know if you are on Facebook or Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. If you're on Facebook, send me. I didn't mean to be shitty to you. It's been kind of one of those days, so I apologize for being shitty. But if you want to send me if you're interested in that and you want to hear about that, if you send me a message on Facebook or a Facebook friend request, I will send you the link when we go to talk about that, because I am going to talk about that. So I just wanted to bring that up to you because a couple people have sent me some information on that exact topic. So go ahead.
So can we watch a quick video?
Sure.
And this is just an old video from March 11th that about ARPA funds. There's a lot of information out there on Jessica not knowing what to do with these ARPA funds. I just want people to know. So, and thanks to Nicole Schuyler for putting these together. They're on her YouTube channel, Heads Up and Company. So she puts a lot of these together.
Be hard for you people to see it, but you'll be able to hear it.
Jessica Madison, the county engineer. Before we get into the meat of this resolution, I'd like to give you a little bit of background. This has been a 3-year in the making project, at least from my involvement. I know others have worked on it prior to me being here at the county. Excuse me. And I know we have some new members, so I want to make sure that you have all the information you need as we go into this discussion. In early 2022, the commissioners asked me to think about how we should look at using our ARPA funds. And one of the ways that came through those discussions was to look at master planning for infrastructure across the county. And so, as you probably know, we initiated 5 master plans countywide to look at different areas of infrastructure. And one of those was, 2 of those, I guess, was to look at water and wastewater. Water and wastewater service in Madison County is provided in our municipalities. But in the rural areas, they're provided typically by on-site systems, so private systems that are owned and managed by the homeowners. When many of these systems were installed, the regulations were different. The knowledge of the systems was different than what we know now. And so the technology's changed over the years, the regulations have changed, and so systems that are in place now, particularly in our rural communities, and council, thank you for having me tonight. Jessica Madison.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, well, she talks about eminent domain. I don't know if we caught that in there.
That one wasn't there.
Okay, she let me ask Nicole. Do you know what? There's another video, but it's 44 minutes. We're not watching that. Do you know?
Are we watching the park board meeting?
We are going to. So, and I'll bring us to that. So anyways, you got that one, but I want to bring us to I just posted on your social media tonight about my apology to Rachel Christensen. So I want to just show everybody this. If you live up in, if you're going to be affected by this park board, there is a meeting that's going to take place on June 11th, which is Wednesday at the Lions Club. This is more of a community meeting that they're going to get people together. I'm sure they'll may have some petitions there, some other things that you guys would want to talk about. There'll be an attorney there on behalf of the people, I think, from what I've been hearing. So we'll do that. But do you know which one I'm talking about that's on your page?
I have no clue. You shared it to my page?
Yeah, I just did it.
Let me look.
Instead of doing my actual real job, I did this tonight. So I can send it. So, and then there's another post about what Ken Delabastide thought, and on people's voices. I posted that yesterday. Well, and I'll show you some of Rachel's behavior here shortly. And then this is a post of my apology. So
no, I don't see it. I don't see your apology anywhere.
All right, I put it in your messenger. So I had to do a lot of homework when I realized that that Rachel did have.
Yes, I did see your apology. I just don't see anywhere where it says sorry.
You put that up on the screen. I did say sorry. The same way I say sorry to David Williams.
It says,
yeah,
how did we get to the Madison County Parks Board and this $4 million ARPA project? That is a want and not a need. When Madison County has so many pressing issues with our drains and safety for our officers, with no money for these necessities. After a significant amount of research, here are my thoughts, opinions. People from the community will have to attend meetings and express their opinions, concerns if you want to change. I believe history is always important to understand how community has gotten to the point where no one in the community had knowledge to what was actually taking place. I do see it here. I do want to start with an apology to Vice President of the Madison County Parks Board, Rachel Christensen, as I did not catch her conflict of interest that was filed in May 2025. It was completely my error. I thought conflicts of interest would be submitted prior to appointments and contracts being awarded. I always thought you did that beforehand. With that amount of education and experience that Rachel Christensen has, I assumed she turned a conflict of interest in prior to her acceptance to the board, not 17 months later. It appears that this trail system began in January 2023. From my research, it appears they were developing this project to include all of the county assets. However, I believe the most important asset was overlooked, and that was we the people and their land. Final path was submitted to the Indiana Department of Natural Resources in April 2024. That was to get federal funding, but as many of us know, federal funding has been sliced. A vision of the board was to take a holistic approach, but it appears that the only holistic approach is what the board members want, evident by their lack of answers to the people. Actions always speak louder than words. This trail is to nowhere. This draft plan also includes access to restrooms along the way. Where will the merry-go-round of the porta pots land? I'm also very confused with the meeting dates. The park board is supposed to meet the second and fourth Thursday of every month. However, this last meeting adjourned, and it will be over a month before it reconvenes. If this board cannot follow the initial meeting times, how on earth is it going to meet the needs of the people? Please take a close look at Rachel Christensen's conflict of interest, where it states that she has a potential to earn an annual bonus based on performance for lack of areas of for other areas of the county. What exactly does this mean for this project? The contract was written by HWC Engineering, whom Rachel holds a position with, for a $250,000. There is a lot of questions about this contract as well, and I have included them. From my calculations, it appears to be over budget. So the question becomes, can Rachel keep this within its budget, or will this too land on the taxpayers? If you take the time to look through the articles I have posted, it appears that Rachel Christensen has a lengthy history of working in our county. She is oftentimes hired as an intern but never retained. That should be interesting to all of us. Another point to note is Rachel was involved in the disaster of Drew's Parts. This case was recently won by attorney Laureen White. Rachel never enforced the collection of the fines from Drew's Parts, which the residents of this county deserved. Is this why the county did not keep her in a permanent capacity? Take a close look at the epic environmental damage and failures of the county engineer Jessica Baston and Rachel Christensen as they gladly signed off on Drew's Parts. Do you really think that Rachel should be the voice for this board and county engineer Jessica Baston is capable of overseeing this project? In the future, I request Rachel address the community with some respect, people, or let the president bin or cut
take people out of there.
Address the whatever. Respect or let the president address the community. I encourage everyone to attend the community meetings on Wednesday, June 11th at 6 p.m. At Lapel's Lions Club. This whole project has too many questions and not enough answers in order for it to move forward. But the community is going to have to get very involved and demand accountability, transparency, and honesty.
So those are the two contracts. If you want to look at them for her old, what she's for that 250,000, the numbers just don't match. But look at some of these pictures here, Christopher, that I want to point out to the public. I went back all the way to 2019 and archived a lot of them. So this is the final appointment made to the newly formed county board. Now, remind you, up in Monroe Township, we've got a disaster with the drains, but we're going to come up with new projects. Why didn't somebody take care of that? They knew about this drain in 2022. So,
yeah.
And here's, I got a big problem with the surveyor. And the next time I see the surveyor, I'm going to say something to the surveyor, because Ralph Wolfgang no longer works in the surveyor's office. Why is he
Yeah.
even on this board? So that needs to be addressed within itself. He left a couple of weeks ago and he now works over at the casino.
Oh,
This blue part on this one down here in the bottom, the park
well,
board.
and at that meeting that we're getting ready to watch, they say they meet on first Thursday of each month.
So where did the change? Because in none of the articles did I see that they've changed this. And here's the thing, I would warrant this quick of a project, $4 million, and it's affecting all these people. They should be meeting twice a month. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They should be meeting twice a month. So that's a big problem. That was in 24 that this article went out. Here's Rachel Christensen's conflict of interest that she's put in. Now here's this is a contract's really weird, because she filled it out in March, but didn't even submit it until May. But her company was awarded money back in January. So I'm not, and
that's the problem.
And she was assigned to this board in 24. She talks about all this knowledge she has. Well, why didn't she know to turn this in? And that's where it tells you that she can get bonuses and things like that. Yeah. March 17th, but she didn't get it in until May 1st.
I have a problem with this.
So I'm not sure what's going on. And I don't know if she's the only one that has to sign it, but nobody else signed it. So, here's the thing. She put her email as Gmail. I don't know why she didn't put her employer email, but whatever. This is the award. And this does, because I can't narrow the screen down. This also shows other money that's been awarded to the county and contracts, if anybody's watching other things. And I put the link on the page so you can go look up contracts for any county. It doesn't have to just us.
Gateway does that.
Yeah, so you can go look up your counties as well if you've got issues. This talks about the newly formed, and this just shows you what the lines are, and everything, so people know that I legitimately got it off of Gateway. This is in 2024 when Ben Orcutt posted, hey, we're going to be on this new board. He was super excited about it. He should have turned in a conflict of interest at that point. I'm surprised it was never turned in. And here's the thing: the leader of this
them all rush to do that now. Watch them.
Watch
them all rush to do this here coming up.
Yeah, and Jessica should have known better. So then there's a bunch of articles in here for everybody to read. They're all archived articles to tell you how this got going, how we got here. Jessica's best friend is serving in the capacity, so that vote will always go towards Jennifer and she won't get any pushback. As you can see, Jessica is using Rachel. They're complete opposite people to keep the crowd under control. And once you watch this meeting, again, here is where the funds have to be spent by 2026. So again, I don't know why they can't stop this whole mess, because the residents aren't happy with it and put that money towards Monroe Township. These are just articles for you to go through if you want to know the history. Listen, this is people's properties. These histories, it's really, really important. And it took me quite a while to come up with all this stuff. But this guy lives in Anderson, and he wrote, we're not even taking care of what we got down there at the bottom. I mean, he says it's been ignored for decades. So can we really depend on the fact that they're going to take care of this project? I just don't think so.
Yeah.
So just more articles for everybody to read. And then as you move forward, I put in here Rachel's history with Pendleton. She again was an interim. They decided not to retain her. The same, pattern. Even Madison County had her as the interim planning person.
What did you say?
Huh?
Never mind.
So I do want you. So to me, this is her resume, not what she's putting out on her LinkedIn.
Hell yeah.
I just want you people to know.
Is Tom Bannon on the park board?
Yes, I believe so.
I thought I heard his name.
Yeah. So, and again, this is the part where I don't want anybody to think that I am just publishing to publish. Like, I want you to have the history. Now, so it moves me into this. This is her resume. Blow that up just a little bit. Her and Jessica go out to Drew's parts, and they're like, no, this guy's great, right? He was supposed to be getting fined $1,000 per day. It would be imposed starting June 1st. Christensen said Thursday she visited the site with County Engineer Jessica Baston and determined that Drew's has made significant progress. Okay. Now, down there at the bottom, what's the date on that? That was in 2022. Now, just imagine if your land backed up to this disaster. It is a complete disaster. It's got oil everywhere. I mean, literally, he's taking cars apart out there, heavy equipment out there. The noise is awful. It's just a complete disaster out there. She was involved in the solar thing here. And who won that? The people won that too. I mean, come on, people. If you really think that these people have your best interest, no. Look at all the things that she's screwed up. So on May 30th, Laureen White and her husband win against Drew's parts. It took 1,626 days. Now, you mean to tell me if these two can't get it together, they're not the team you want. This dynamic duo is a dynamic disaster.
Yeah.
I just want you all to know that. Yeah. And so I put all of that up there for you guys to see what Jessica Baston and what Rachel Christensen together are incapable of achieving. This is the whole Drew's part so that you can read all of that. I don't want anybody to think that I'm putting just partial stuff up. And this just shows you, judge upholds the county BZA decision on Drew's parts. So I want everybody to understand that this is a disaster in the making unless you get new people in there.
Yeah.
So this leads us into the meeting. If you've watched the meeting and you don't want to hear our commentary, you're welcome to call it a night. Otherwise, we're going to give you some.
Oh, what? No, shut up. She don't get to say that. No. She don't get to say that. You got to stick around. What?
Most are going to stick around because we're so entertaining.
Get the hell out of here. What the hell? Yeah, well, if you just want to stop watching for tonight, you can go away.
It gets even better because now you get to see the faces of this nightmare. So the Parks Board's at the top of my page.
Katherine is definitely not a salesman. Yeah, you don't need to buy this car. Looks like you came in here with a car.
Well, I can't imagine anybody's going to leave. It's such great commentary. This is going to even get better.
I'm going to check out, but yes.
Okay, so do you see?
I got it.
Okay, there's the Parks Board. So can you fast forward it?
Get it going. Yeah, because.
Okay, that's Laureen White right there. That's sitting there.
Yeah, I walked in with it.
Right there. That's
Laureen. Yeah, that's Laureen. So if you need an attorney, you can call Laureen White if you want. You can find her on Facebook.
And yes, welcome. We're going to introduce ourselves a little.
I'll just give you her number too. If you're part of this and you want to be a remonstrator for your land and it's part of this, call her.
I'm going to let this play for a second.
Her number's 260-413-7122 if anybody wants to call her. I don't care. You can call her in the middle of the night. If I have to go to the middle of the night, she has to get up in the middle of the night.
All right, here we go. I'm going to play it just for a second, let you hear this. I'll be right back.
A little bit. There's a lot of new faces in the crowd, so we just want everybody to know each other.
The room was packed. It's more than just
we'll start with a
faces.
little bit of introductions, give a little bit of an opening. Excuse me. And then this is a listening session. This is a time for us to hear questions, concerns.
When is the answering session?
Encouragements, whatever it may be. We may or may not have answers in the moment. In fact, it's likely we will not. But that's why we're giving the opportunity for these questions to come forward so that we can find answers and get
They've been on this board for 17 months.
So,
and real quick, there is a sign-in sheet going around. I feel like I'm being
That's
super
Rachel,
repetitive,
everyone.
but if you want to speak today, please sign in on that sign-in sheet. If you're just here to listen, you don't need to sign in. We just want to get a good feel for how many people want to speak so we can use our time efficiently and make sure we can get to everyone. Okay, so after we're done introing, we'll probably grab that sheet, so please try to get it around as quickly as possible.
And I just want you to know that
And
no
yes,
one gave
you'll
their
need to come up to the
address.
Podium, and you'll need to state your name and your address.
You do not have to give your
Okay,
Alright.
but they don't give their
Oh, I
address.
get to start? All right. So my name's Rachel Christensen. Let's see. So I've lived in Madison County since 2007. I've served in various roles in the county. I come from a Parks and Recreation background. One of my first jobs out of college was for Lake County Parks and Recreation.
Has she said how long they have yet?
So parks are near and dear to me.
No, she has to give her
One of
resume
the challenges
first.
that I
Which doesn't
faced when
match
lived
what
in
I
Lake
found
County
out
and worked
about
with our
her.
Parks department was that
So
there was a
fast
lot of land that
forward,
was already developed,
because
and it was really
I don't care
difficult
now that
for us
I've done
to
our
do any
homework.
type of
They're all
park and
words. It means
recreation
nothing to me.
Specifically, so. for
These are
the
other
first
people
time
that are
so
on
Look,
the market.
okay, wait a minute. What time do we have to start?
We welcome you to the
Okay, so right here, I'm going to write this down. So I'm assuming when they're saying this is like 12 noon. So 12 noon is 6:39. All right, let's see how long they go on with their stupid bullshit.
Well, we can fast forward through it. We'll know when they get it.
as well. So when the county asked me to be a part of this,
Oh, God.
alignment information on where this would go, because that's the study
this
that
is
we're
it.
currently doing right
I
now,
think.
is to give us options on where there could be feasible trails put on the ground. And it's going to give us information on, if there's an area that floods really bad and that we shouldn't put a trail, that's the kind of information
It all
gonna
floods,
get
idiot.
during this study. So I just want to be clear that, like, right now, there's nothing on paper that would show an exact alignment of where this trail will go. And a lot of the questions that we're getting in email, are how are you going to do flood mitigation on this particular trail? And quite honestly, we don't have the answer to that yet, because we don't.
Well, what have
know
these
the
people been
alignment.
doing for 17 months?
So as we are moving through that process, there are going to be public engagement opportunities for you to come in and tell us what you think about those different alignments that are going to get proposed to us. We can make a decision about that based on the feedback that you give us. I think, knowing what you can do as the public is really important. So meetings
knowing
like
what
this,
your lane is.
usually we have our board our agenda that we're going to work through, and we all have our jobs too that we're taking our day,
All right, listen.
time out of our day to come to this. We all feel passionate about serving on the board, so this is well worth our time to come and look at ways that we can improve Madison County. And we appreciate you guys coming during the middle of the day like this too. So we just want to be upfront that
Don't have a middle of the day stupid ass meeting, stupid ass. How about that?
at future this is definitely going to be a listening session for us. I have a cutoff at 1 o'clock that I have to leave.
And we do have a cutoff at 1 o'clock, so I'm going to talk for the next 20 minutes. I look out here and see there's 300 people out there, so I'm going to talk for at least the first 10 minutes. Shut up and listen, if this would be one thing, if this was a meeting where they're saying, listen, this is for us to talk and for you to listen, I would have no issue with this. But since they're starting this out knowing that this is going to be a meeting in which they're here to listen to the public, none of this shit matters. Shut up and start letting the public talk. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, I've had it up to here with dumbass government people. And this is so stupid. This is so stupid. So I just want to let
She's
you know.
not done with her lecture. Let her continue with her lecture.
Here we go.
Get back to my real job. But in future meetings, we may not have time to do a full listening session. So I just want to be clear on that. So other good ways for you to give us your feedback is to, of course, email us. Leanne is our board secretary, and there is an email address that if you can make sure you're copying that email address on, that would help us keep track. Again, we're volunteers. We're trying to do better at communication. This is a new board, and there's limited resources right now with
Okay, now stop that for a minute.
having staff.
I'm working on learning to communicate because this is a new board. Woman, you just said you've been doing this for how long?
Yeah.
She talks out of both sides of her mouth.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
and then
She should be a commissioner.
If you can't give this the time that it needs because you have a paying job, then guess what? Why don't you resign and we'll get somebody on there who can devote the time that needs to be given to this. Bethany Keller has a real job. She's a real mom. But you know what? She still gives the community 110% every time she comes to a meeting.
Yeah.
And you don't hear her sitting up there saying, well, I was busy making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and I couldn't get to that. So could you hurry it up with what you want to tell me?
Yeah, right.
So we're doing our best, and we know it's not great, but we hear you, and we're going to really try our best effort to do better to make sure websites are getting updated and there's more information for you guys to hear. Because that's important. I mean, for me as a board member to Google when our board meetings are and to see that it was the wrong time is super embarrassing. So
it is. It should be.
I apologize about that, and we're working to do better. So Leanne is going to be really instrumental for us that if you copy that board email address, that she can keep track of all of the comments that we get so that we can address them as we're going through the process. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Okay, stop that for a second. No, it doesn't make sense because at the beginning of the meeting, if you go back and listen to this, she says, we do not have time to maintain a Facebook page. We do not have time to manage any social media. We do not. So she gave two conflicting answers today or with that meeting. 1 minute she doesn't have time. The next minute she does have time. So I mean, if you can't sit there and listen to all these people who showed up in this room, I don't have any idea how you're going to answer all their emails.
Well, I do hear another point in the meeting where they bring up the possibility of having a Facebook page, and somebody shut them down and said, "No, we won't be doing that."
And that was Rachel.
No, I thought it was someone else.
No,
I thought it was someone else telling them, "No, we won't." I thought Rachel said we're going to have a Facebook page.
No, Rachel's the one that says, "No, we're not going to do it."
Okay, well, she's there. I agree.
I could be wrong, but we'll listen to it and find out.
There, I agree with her on. They should have a website that puts information out.
Yeah.
And then
I can. The email is parksdepartment@madisoncounty.in.gov.
All right. So did you hear that? That was parksdepartment.madisoncounty.in.gov. Very similar to all other government emails. Very easy. parksdepartment.madisoncounty.in.gov. Very easy. Send your emails there.
Yes, it is. Because they can. Yes. parksdepartment@madisoncounty.in.gov.
These people look like they're all people that just came out of the biodome. They've been in the biodome for a year. And they all come out and they're all like different, whatever. But these people couldn't be more bizarre and different from one another if they tried.
And you can, of course, copy us on it. We may not respond directly, but
why?
If you copy Leanne on it with that.
I mean, 24 hours. Why could you not respond within 24 hours? I consider directly 24 hours. So why can you not get an email and respond within 24 hours? Why?
All right.
What's going on that you couldn't do that?
Because the people did this.
And again, please be patient with us. We're a brand new board. I know that's asking for a lot of grace.
Are they not a brand new board, though? Haven't they been around for 17 months?
They've been there for 17 months. And if they've been meeting twice a month, like the paper said, they've met, 34 times?
And we hope that you guys can work alongside us in this, too. Ultimately, we have one of the worst health rankings in the state. Our county does. So
yes, it's the worst health ranking because your health administrator, Stephanie Mellinger, is incompetent.
So I think, we're all up here with really good intentions, and we know that, we want to work alongside you in this, so we need to hear your concerns so that we can best address them as we can. Does that make sense? Okay, we have a ton of people who want to talk today, and we have...
So as soon as I heard her say that, I was like, dude, we're 15 minutes in, and you said the meeting started at noon. We're 15 minutes into your noon meeting, and you literally just said 15 minutes in. We've got a ton of people here, and we do have a cutoff at 1.
And let me just explain to you, the reason why this is new to them is they've never had that many people in a room.
You're right.
That's why this is new.
Yeah.
Holy cow,
Hearing
somebody's
themselves.
actually watching what we're doing.
Yeah, someone's here.
We have 45 minutes. So what I want to do is, there was 24 people who signed in, and I think that gives us like a couple minutes for each person to come up and talk. So we are going to, unfortunately, cut you off after a couple minutes. If there's stuff that you get up to say that you don't have time to say at all, please email us and let us know what you were not able to say today that you wanted to be able to say. The other piece of that is, if you, like, one thing, let's all be respectful so that as someone is up here, please, if the audience can be quiet so we can hear what that person wants to say. The other thing is, if, someone says something, we don't need it repeated 10 times. Like if someone comes up and says, hey, we're worried about flooding on a trail, that's great. We only need to hear that one time. We don't need to hear that 10 more times. So if you're bringing new information up to discuss, absolutely come up and tell us. But if you are repeating stuff that's already been said in the meeting.
What if someone says, we're concerned about the flooding on the trail, and then I want to get up and say, yeah, but I'm really concerned about the flooding on the trail. Like, I feel like I should be able to say that.
Well, that maybe your property floods more than my property.
Yeah, right. I'm really, really concerned.
Maybe if she knew how many people it affected.
Right. Thank you. I'm going to go
It'd be a bigger
Or
concern.
maybe if she realized it didn't affect anybody in this audience that were for it, you know what I mean? And the people that are against it, that's what I wish the guy would have done. How many people that are against this are here from that area? That's the one thing he didn't
Well, they
do.
did, but they didn't turn the camera.
Okay. Well, because he said how many the other one was.
Yeah.
And like I said, just so we can get as many people in, we're going to, please don't be offended when I say, okay, your time's up. You're going to have to go sit down and we'll get the next person up. All right? All right, let's start with Dawn.
No,
Front row
yeah.
Dawn. Best seat in the house.
They're here just to go through the motions, people.
Yeah, that's what
You
it
should have
is.
demanded some answers.
I have 3
They didn't
weeks
even bring the
left
county
on
attorney.
power. How are we gonna light this thing if it goes either way? You gotta light the street.
Okay, do you have like minutes that are of points of interest that you'd like to stop in this?
Well, I just have people, so if I can see the person.
I don't know how you make that happen.
Because the sheriff doesn't have enough people now to do the
Well, this one talks about the sheriff doesn't have enough people now. Okay.
Yeah.
And-
A couple of, there we go.
Okay. Yeah, so keep going forward now.
Timeline,
And they want a nature preserve.
My name's Chad Smart. I live at 5492 West 8th Street Road. I'm new to this. I've only moved in 4 months ago. Lifelong resident of LaPel up until my 20s. Moved to Noblesville. Moved back out here to get
Okay,
away from the
I like what
city.
this guy
Now,
says.
It just seems like you're wanting to bring the city back to me. It's
Just bring,
peaceful.
I moved where I moved
the
to get away
trails,
from the
if it
people, and
goes
now you're
anything like
bringing the people
Anderson, I
back
can
to
take you a
me.
10-minute walk from here and walk Anderson's trails. It's in disrepair. You can't even use Chief Anderson's overlook. It's blocked off. Graffiti all over the trail. People will not walk it at night. It is dangerous. Homeless encampments. I walk 10 minutes. Homeless encampments everywhere up and down that trail.
Yes.
Okay, keep going. Keep going.
It's going to flood. I know that you said you don't want to hear that over and over again, but you're the first one.
Oh, you're the first one.
Okay.
Great.
See, it made people so nervous.
Yeah, she brought up the floods.
Along the other trail. I really don't see anybody ever using a lot of the trails already. We already have Mounds Park, which is wonderful. We already have Shady Side.
I brought up good information.
About the reduced property value. I see river. And I think
Corridors that are identified. So there's an overall corridor, obviously it's White River Greenway. When we get down to the alignment, there could be 4 different alignments or so that get shown on a map.
Obviously.
It's
Homeless people are.
Oh, this lady's interesting.
I'm not going to make you guys do that.
Listen to this lady.
Thank you, Gary.
Yes,
Ellen Ween, 3522 East, 200 North, Anderson, and I live on the opposite side of the county.
Now, I want to say, so first of all, she lives in some place where this is not going to affect her. Number one, she still has a right to speak. No problem. But I want to point something out to you. Look at who she's addressing. Okay. Is she addressing the board or is she addressing the audience?
And there's a lot of people who are addressing the audience.
Yeah.
I have been studying and involved in the Mounds Greenway trails for about the past 6 or 7 years now. That specific study was done on the northern part of the county, and I'm kind of hoping that's where you guys will start because so much of it is already completely done. I am not afraid of homeless people coming out by my house because homeless people are not going to walk 15 miles to come behind my house.
And that is not true.
They're staying in Anderson, and they're on those Anderson trails because they have nowhere else to go, and they want to be close to the Christian Center because that's where they eat. So that's the truth of homelessness. They're not going to walk out to 500 North to be behind your house, okay? That's just not going to happen. So I think that part of it needs to just be taken off the table from where you are. Well,
now, what's interesting to me here is, so she is addressing the audience, not the board, and then the board gets mad at the public when the public's like, hey, you can't guarantee that. Like, what, you know, and they get mad. It's like, make them talk to the board.
Out on Rangeline, way out on Rangeline, they did move out there. Homeless people don't want to be bothered. They'll move further out.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, what I think is interesting is if someone got up and was real hardcore, you know, the other way, and they were talking out to the audience, they would be like, hey, you need to be talking up here. It's just interesting that they don't.
Time to talk. It is Helen's time to talk to the park board instead of these people.
Yeah, see, Catherine just said it.
Why is she addressing?
Maureen said it.
The other parts that I'm saying is the main parts
of the
Mounds Greenway portion of the trail, the study has already been done. So we've already been kind of through that process.
Well, good. Go start this in her yard.
That will need to be completed because that will be what.
And they can put a porta potty in this lady's yard too.
They can only do
She's so for this.
They cannot just roll through. They can only do specific sections at a time. And the idea is to connect Anderson to the county so that bike riders don't have to oppose traffic on the roads. So that's kind of the whole gist of it. I think we need.
All right.
Most of my questions have been answered.
It's a little rainy out there.
Yeah.
So I'm Dave Crandall. I live 632 East Water Street.
Are we seeing someone that you want to talk to? Where are we at?
No, he's Pendleton. Move on from him too. These people who are for this.
That's all I'm saying. I've seen this. They're in.
Deb Berry, she lives
west of Baxter Road, or just west of the county building right now, and they were in a woods, and they've had to start clearing out the woods to make sure they're not going to stay there because they were setting up a encampment. So that's an issue. So the fact that they say that homeless aren't going to come, well, I say you build it and knock it out. So that's my concerns. Thank you.
Liz and Mitch and then Patty.
This Liz one. Listen to her.
My name is Liz Hobbs Camparelli. I live at 8383 West 8th Street Road, and my family pretty much owns everything from Busby Drilling Company, except for Mitch and Mary's, down to my place on both sides of the river. And a couple things haven't been mentioned to this point. This is ARPA money. It's different than state grants. And there was guidance issued by the Government Finance Officers Association, of which this county is a member, that advised counties not to, quote, create new programs or add-ons that require an ongoing financial commitment. That was the advice they gave to counties and cities. By the plan's own admission, this is going to cost $2,400 an acre just in maintenance, plus 6 full-time employees. This is in there. You are creating a new tax with ARPA money. I hope this doesn't get clawed back for violation, because then we have to pay for the $4 million and you didn't get the plan. I'm also concerned about the idea that there will be more grants. Only 15 to 30% of all grants for trails are for maintenance. We will have to pay for the continuing maintenance of this, and nobody's talking about that. Regarding the alignment, I don't know what Burgess and Neipel is telling you, but I have it on good authority from the state that you will have to do a 106 review, and you will have to get a federal U.S. Fish and Wildlife permit for all the bald eagles that are up and down the river. People see them. They're federally protected. You have to stay 330 feet away from their nesting sites from December 15th to July 31st. So I don't know how you're going to make all this work, and I don't know what Burgess and Neipel is telling you. I hope you consult with people before you release this plan. Duke has a 25-foot separation easement requirement. If you put it on 8th Street, You're going to take out my mom's parking lot to her 123-year-old building. You're going to take out grain bins for some of my neighbors. I don't even know how people are going to operate their heavy equipment, grain trucks, combines, sprayers, rigs, big trucks. How is this going to work if you put the trail along the road and all these businesses and farmers have to dodge pedestrians and bikes along the way? I don't understand how it's going to work. And then my last comment is, the federal government, Department of Treasury, issued guidance just in the last 6 weeks that says you can reallocate ARPA money for other things. You do not have to spend this money on this trail. You can do something else with it. They are giving you the flexibility. I don't know if anybody's told you that. The federal government has said that. I think this trail has a lot of problems that are going to show up in the audit when you have to turn in all your paperwork at the end. And I hope you will do your homework now and not after the fact. Thank you.
Monroe Township needs to lose their crap on the county, and they need to say, hey, we're not doing this regional utility project. You're going to pay for that, and you guys are going to eat all that. And so this is a big deal, people. You've got to be paying attention, because they are appointing these elected officials who are already incompetent, continue to put puppets in place who will tell them, yes, nobody's looked into this, nobody's following this, but you know what? This board isn't the only one that needs to be held accountable.
No.
The county council needs to be held accountable as well, because they oversee this money.
Well, and at the end of the day, this is the issue. Because I'll be honest, I understand why people's concerns are on the homeless or whatever, and I don't think that's going to be a major issue. Like Tweety Bird said, that was concerns of the people in Muncie, and that's not been an issue for Muncie in the same way that
it is a big issue
did.
in Anderson.
I understand
on the trail.
Muncie has homeless
it has materialized
the same way. No, well, first of all, it hasn't, because they've not made the trails out there yet.
No,
it hasn't
the existing ones we have.
In these ways. I know. And we have homeless people on some of our inner city trails too. But what I'm saying is, one of the guys got out and said something about them walking 10 miles. They're not going to walk 10 miles. I agree with that guy. I do agree with that guy. And I don't think at the end of the day, even if, okay, say it is, say it's not, whichever way, this ARPA is the biggest issue. The funding is the biggest issue. How this is going to be continued to be paid for day in and day out, month and year in and out, is going to be the big issue, because ARPA, one of these days, ARPA is going to be a distant memory. And
that's the whole thing. When Tweety Bird says people are so whiny, I don't know. This is going to get into our checkbooks. That's not whining.
I know what she's saying, but I could point to a lot of issues on the other side where I feel the same way, but on the left. That being said, again, this is an ARPA money issue. ARPA is going to go away. How do we know how much total you guys have in ARPA? Do you guys know that?
We received $24.9 million.
How much you have left?
Oh, they still have 9 and 4. They have they still have a good chunk of it. They have probably 18 million
used soon.
They haven't used the 9 million for the jail, and they haven't used the 4 million. So right there's 13 million. So I know for sure we've got 13 million still sitting there.
Okay, but those are all that, like the jail money is already spoken for.
They're all, it's all spoken for.
Oh.
Pretty much. We'd have to ask the council, how much is left in there. But I think most of it is accounted for and spoken for. But it would be interesting. Somebody needs to ask the council how much is left in the ARPA funds that's not accounted for.
Yeah,
Yeah, so there's a couple other speakers here that had some comments.
Okay, yeah, we'll go forward here.
Okay, Mitch, Patty, and then Julie.
Hi there. I'm Mitch Smith, live in 8000 block of West 8th Street Road. Lifelong Madison County resident, love Madison County. Appreciate what you're doing. Think it's a pretty uphill battle. For those that you don't know, this has been a year going so far, am I correct?
Listen to this guy.
You guys have a lot of investment already without lots of us knowing. supposedly.
First off, that's a big problem. I right here, kick over the podium and set the place on fire. That's a big problem that they're like, yep, that's right. That is a problem.
But they came with no answers. They're still learning this. This is what I'm saying, people. Pay attention. Oh, all the ARPA funds have been appropriated. Was that your question? Yes. Is it all accounted for? So I thought it all had been.
So
it
then,
just hasn't come out of the bank just yet. But yeah, it's all been spoken for.
That was the question. Thank you, counselor. So yeah, number one, that they're like pretty much in agreement with the fact that, yeah, we've been working on this a long time and we're still saying we don't have answers. That is a problem. And the fact that they've been working on this a long time and no citizen knows a damn thing about it. That's a problem. All right. So let's go on.
And
This
Mitch
is the guy I
Smith
like.
kind of in a tough spot because he owns a huge business out on 32.
Yeah.
So he's in a tough spot here.
Yeah. I like this guy.
We sent out a random flyer to county people. Is that correct?
For what?
For input on this.
No.
Okay, that's
So
fine.
the Park and Recreation Master Plan that was done first, and I believe
So we
that
haven't
might have
notified
been
anybody.
that, where there's certain requirements for the master plan that the state has in place, and all of those requirements were met, of course, for that plan.
Great, thanks for answering.
You're welcome.
So I think we're in a 6-mile range, is that right, from Layton Road to Highway 13? Would that be correct? Give or take, let's say that, right? I think what would help lots of us, and I know we keep getting I don't knows, but it says in the master plan, if I'm correct, there's four options. If it says that in the master plan, what are those 4 options?
Roughly speaking, the north side of the White River, the south side of the White River, the north side of 8th Street, and the south side of 8th Street.
I love it. So that doesn't narrow down our 6+ mile range, because here's the real point. I think we would all agree. If this is going to operate between Layton Road and 500, you're not going to have to worry about me, because that's not even close to our house. And I feel like the people that live in that area, if it's out by us, they're probably not going to worry that much either. I have this flyer that I want to give you guys, and this is a flyer of parks that are close, that have excellent trail system in it. Now, the only reason I say that is this, because I agree with a lot of the people that if we have a trail system, we're basically going to use it for bicycling, which I love bicycling. I know it doesn't show, but I do. Now, right? Because here's the point. I don't think anyone's going to drive into a trailhead, and how far do you expect them to walk? I mean, we're not going to walk a mile, most likely, and let's say we do. Then you're going to turn around and walk back. Whereas in a park system or some type of a little satellite park, we could have all kinds of cool trails to it, similar to City Side, which I think, or Camp Cotiwi. I'll leave this with you guys. So here, I think, is the real meat and potatoes. It would be great if this wonderful board could have people get on board and help push us up the mountain. That's going to be a mountain. But I think, how many people in here are for it? Raise your hand. Excellent. I love that. Is that 6 or 7?
Okay.
How many people of the 6 or 7?
So there are 6 or 7 people in this meeting that are for it.
And none of them live in the area.
Well, all right. Now, he says, out of those 6 or 7, how many live in the area?
7, will this be on your property?
We don't know that yet.
Oh, yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. You got 4 options. So on the north
You've got 4 options. Of those 7 people, how many are north or south of the river or north or south of 8th Street? So that's what he's asking, and we'll see.
Side of the road, south side of the road, north side of the river, or south side of the river. Is anybody that's for it? So we got one person that's for it.
There's one person that's for it that's also in the area, which, listen, all people from Madison County, and if someone wants to come from Seattle, let them speak. I've got no issue with that. But just like the solar power issue, the people like Tweety Bird, we've said the same thing about the people who are pro solar, but they don't have skin in the game, so to say.
And here's the thing.
You got to look at that.
Tweety Bird, they don't have this connecting to anything. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's the
this
problem.
is a trail to nowhere. Number
From
one.
and to nowhere.
Yeah.
From
And
to.
number two, no, they don't have any more. They even said this 4 million won't be enough to complete this project.
Yeah.
So I don't know where they're going to get that money from.
Yeah. Listen to this guy.
That it could possibly be on, it's not gonna be on Helen's property. No. Not even close.
Okay.
And that's kind of the end of my story. I would just, I mean, I think we can already see that we don't have a room of people that are for it already. I hope it ends.
Thank you.
Or I hope it has a better plan of distinguishing where it's going to be.
So Rachel just wants them to sit down and shut up.
That what?
Rachel just wants them to sit down and shut up.
Yeah,
She just
right.
keeps saying thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
because his points are well proven.
Yeah. They don't like that. And the whole maybe it will in the future, Tweety Bird, that don't fly. Don't put something in the middle first and talk about what's going to happen out there later. This whole let's build this 6-mile trail not connected to nothing 10 miles out of town. That's nuts. You don't build the second floor of a house and say, well, in the future, we'll build the basement and the first floor. You build the basement, you build the first floor, you build the second floor, you build the third floor. You don't start on floor 2 and say, in the future, we'll build the foundation. That's not happening. See you, Ella.
Just to say, we have about 14 minutes left.
We've got about 14 minutes.
I'm Patricia Hobbs. I live at 7944 West.
This lady's
County Road 80
house really
West,
gets hit if they go where they're going.
West 8th Street.
What?
I'm opposed to the trail. If it's located on the north side of West 8th Street, it would eliminate my front yard. I would literally have strangers walking within 10 feet of my living room window. My home has remained in the family since it was built almost 200 years ago. And there is no way for me to protect myself or my property from strangers who would be wandering by. If it's located on the south side of the road, then it is going to destroy the front of my business, Busby Drilling Company, which has been there for 123 years. We have heavy equipment and delivery trucks in and out of there, and I don't know how well, I'm sure they will be extremely careful to try to dodge bikers and pedestrians. If the trail is located along the river on our family's property, as the river meanders up towards West 8th Street, there is literally no place for the trail to go. You will see a big metal guardrail because it is a straight drop-off. Now, in that particular area, you have curves and dips in the road, so it is not going to be safe for people to crosswalk over to the other side of the river until they get past that part. I've lived in Jackson Township for over 50 years. And I can remember years ago, there was a discussion about a bike trail. However, the residents opposed it. And it was for many of the reasons that we're all talking about here today. At least in the 70s, those who wanted the trail had the courtesy to ask us if we wanted it before moving forward with plans and spending money on it. And they had the common sense not to impose their will on us without asking. And thank you.
Tweety Bird, if these people had sidewalks, they would live in the city. How's this any different than the solar power fight? And you are against solar power. So when people move out of the city, they move out of the city for specific reasons. They don't move out of the city for the city to then shove city things in their face.
And I want you to watch the board. Rachel Christensen doesn't take one note. Ben does kind of write some things down. This guy on the end kind of writes some things down. The people, they're not writing these things down so that they can answer them later.
Well, no, because I think she said that their slave in the corner, their secretary scribe was supposed to.
Yeah, but what if she doesn't get it all right? You can make some notes and look things up.
Sure. Sure, they definitely should be.
I'm just going to let them know that.
Okay, you can go past.
Best for that particular thing.
That's the other thing.
Fire department.
The fire territory, this is the fire territory. president for Stony
running
Creek.
EMS onto those trails.
They don't
What
really
happens
have a
if somebody
fire
gets
territory. They've lost all their funding.
So it is a major concern, and I know that you're going to try to figure this out, but I want you to keep that in mind.
Thank you.
So he's telling them, I don't know what kind of EMS you're going to have.
Lee, and then Michael, and then Josh. Sorry. Yes, Leah, thank you.
Thank you. I want to ask first of all if you got my letter. I sent a letter but didn't get a reply, so I don't know if anybody, was it an email?
Physically or via email?
Email to the Parks Department.
I don't know if I got one from
Helbring, yeah.
See, they're not going to respond to you.
Oh, but they don't.
This lady sent
Well, I'll just
something.
take my 2 minutes to summarize it quickly. Because
These people
I think
haven't
the report is amazing.
prepared.
I read it 3 times, a lot of stuff, and I remember getting my survey about parks. I'm excited about getting parks and trails in Madison County. And last time he let us ask the question, my concern last meeting was that there's only one feasibility study going on, and that this was the location that was chosen for that. Because when I read the report, I remember being surprised because the priorities that you guys set were to connect existing things, existing amenities in the county, and this would not fulfill that. It's connected to another county, not to other amenities. When you look at Jackson Township, where it resides, it's the least vulnerable people there, it's the lowest population there, and those are prioritized to hit the most people that we can to have the biggest impact in Madison County. The White River, the report talked about how what a big watershed it is, but Pipe Creek and Fall Creek could be developed more successfully, and Pipe Creek sits in the northern part of the county where Arestas and Ellick and Frankton and all those places have some existing structures, but no trails. Frankton's not even near your trail boundary. So in my letter, I cited the figures that you had and so that you could see what I was trying to point out. I was trying to talk to Tom, and Ben were gracious to talk to me last week. I said, I'll put it down on paper so that it'll make sense. So I took the time to do that, to reference the article. Okay, yeah. So, but in general, my confusion was that the public also said we want to connect existing Madison County things to make it easier to get around. And on the east side, the connector of the greenway space from now, so I kind of feel like to connect that side like an easy win with a high impact. That's where the events are. You'll look down at Jackson Township, 0 events that you guys found in the report, but all of them, and the population and the vulnerable people up in the north. So I proposed 2.
What is the railroad
projects.
upset
One
about,
including
P-Bird?
state priority to do Honey Creek sits up there too. And I appreciate the fact that connecting to another county is a long-range goal that the report talked about. But to do that on the east, you could connect to Henry with the Honey Creek. So it seemed like it just was a surprise to me that this became a priority when there were other places that I think could hit a lot of the metrics that you bubbled up as being important. So my letter's there with references.
I'd like to know if they email her back.
Big thanks to Jim Bauer for being here.
Okay,
Jackson
so
Township's fire protection
this is
agency
Josh
on
Miller.
the
He's
south
the
side of
clerk
river,
treasurer
by
in
Stony
Jackson
Township. On the
Township.
north side of the river,
Okay.
it's covered by Lafayette Township. So there was concern that there, from ambulatory service and fire protection, like they were, when questions were asked of them, they didn't even know, never heard of Parks Board, they didn't know anything about the trail system. So I think that's a concern from the safety point of view. In case in point with the sheriff's office with John Beeman, he was not brought into it in any way, shape, or form. But it was stated in one of your previous meetings, and I can quote the meeting later if need be, that and to paraphrase that, it's all being taken care of. Those people can operate. Those people being in a very polite term, sorry, not of those people, but the ambulatory service and the sheriff's office will cover that under their current jurisdiction, and with extra services and extra infrastructure, it takes extra money, and where's that coming from? And I think just have that consideration.
Absolutely.
And then the question, the big question I think with what we've been hearing here, with this board has communicated, and thankfully that, and the direct quote is, intimate domain is not, you don't have an appetite as a direct quote for intimate domain, so thank you very much for that. So one follow-up question, if this
Now,
park board
stop
was
that for
approved
just a
by
minute there. Nobody verbally answered him. He says, we're not going to do eminent domain. And they're all just kind of shaking their head gently there, very non-committal. Do not trust this board.
Well, yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
along the White River corridor, specifically through Jackson Township, and you have a group of people that don't want to sell for any price and for any reason, will the plant die, or what's the next step?
I think it's important to know that this is a long-range plan, right? So this isn't going to happen overnight. If there are parts and pieces that can't get constructed because property owners are not wanting to sell, that's okay. And you know, there's gaps in trail projects all over the state that, as opportunities do arise, those gaps can be rectified or filled. That's what happens. So I think that's the approach that the board would be taking with this too, is that, you know, we know that there's going to be personal preferences not to do that, and as the future, you know, 10 years from now, 50 years from now, 25 years from now, someone might own that property that has a different opinion about it that would want to sell. So I think that's more of the approach that we would take is
So-
those who want to be part of it right now or want to sell right now.
Is
that's
everybody
great,
hearing
and
what
if you don't
she's
wanna sell right
saying?
now, that's okay too.
Yeah,
And I think
that's
that's a great
crazy.
definition
Hold that for a
of
second.
everybody in
So
the room can be-
if you and I live next door to each other, and I say I'm not doing it, so they're gonna stop the trail, and they're gonna come to your house and put it at your house. How is that a trail? I mean, that's literally what she's saying.
Yeah, right. Which makes absolutely no
It
damn.
doesn't. I mean, it's like, do you listen to these people?
Yeah, they're just saying words to just say words at that point.
Are you frozen?
No, I was just saying. Okay, sorry. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
That in 20 years, and then it could be.
I know, I don't like leading with like.
But and being sensitive, my
No, yeah, these people don't know.
Put something in writing because at the end of the day, what we say is one thing, what's written is another, and what's written. In your
Yeah, this guy was good.
And if you would term off the board and the president term off the board, maybe the next two people do have a strong appetite for intimate domain, and I think there's a lot of fear with that.
Yeah.
So if you could have a written
That makes
policy. And because, and what you're hearing, and I'm watching my time here closely, what you're hearing, this is people's front yards, this is people's backyards, this is people.
See how rude that is? Did you see what she did?
Yeah, your
Take
time
that
is
back.
up.
Just say, your time is up.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great. And I just wanted to, if you would term off the board and the president term off the board, maybe the next two people do have a strong appetite for intimate domain. And I think there's a lot of fear with that.
Yeah.
So if you could have a written
That makes
policy, and because, and what you're hearing, and I'm watching my time here closely,
Your
what you're hearing,
time's
this is
up.
people's front yards, this is people's backyards, this, people move here for these particular reasons, so.
Yeah.
But those are concerns, if we could get.
I'm glad he
something
just
right,
kept on
those concerns,
speaking.
I think that'd be great. And I just want to end it once again, thank you all for having this meeting, taking the time to listen. And I think we're all very interested in better communication going forward, because you've addressed them. Thank you for that as well. Appreciate it.
All right, we've got Janet, and then I think it's an ER is the last one.
I'm done, Janet's.
You're good? Yeah. Okay, and then, I'm sorry if I'm not saying this right, but is it ER? Our last person to sign in.
Lives on Ryan Drive.
Are we gonna be a mystery ER?
Oh, you want to speak? That's your turn.
All right, guys, this is our last person.
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
My name's Irvin, I live on Ryan Drive. My question to all of you, do you have property on the river, or do you have family members that live on the river?
No.
Oh, okay.
So none of them are affected by this. But yet,
And that
don't
generally.
you think you would include somebody on this board that was affected by this?
Well, that's hard to do because this is not the board specifically for this area. It's the parks board, so it's for
Listen,
everything in Madison County. So
This
that would be
was
hard to do.
specifically formed for this project. Number one.
Okay, so this was not for all the other parks. This is the Trail to
This
Nowhere
was designed
board.
for, yes, right? If
No,
you
no,
go back
wait.
and read the articles I posted,
Okay, yeah.
this board was specifically designed for this. So where's the park board been all these years before this?
Well, yeah, right. Well,
Right?
generally counties don't have park boards.
Yeah. Number two, they found it a point to bring in the only guy who owns a bicycle
Yeah, that's
shop
interesting.
to put
Yeah.
on here.
Right.
Number three, they decided that the person who has been an intern and always not able to retain a job, she's on here. She's even been part of the reason why the whole disaster of Drew's Parts and the solar farm, she's on here. I mean, I don't know about these people. And then they get all upset because we're talking about them. Well, your performance has been a 0. I do not understand in the real world. I just want you to know, in the real world, if like my patients weren't getting better and they were getting worse, I probably wouldn't have a job. But
Well,
yet
yeah, right.
Mellinger keeps getting more money and her job is secured. Christensen shows us that she is incapable of doing what this county needs. Maybe
Yeah.
she should try her luck at another county.
Well, at least they're not getting paid. That's the one good thing I guess we could say about it. But
Right?
the people who appointed these people, the elected officials that appointed these specific people need to be on the hook for this.
Yes, and the commissioners appointed Ben and Rachel. That's part in those articles. You'll see that that's who appointed those two. Now Rachel is on a 4-year contract,
Of
where Ben is on a 2-year. I don't know why the two had the difference.
They just probably stagger them that way. Yeah.
Then the surveyor has a guy on here, Rob Wolfgang,
One or the
but
other.
he was only supposed to be on for 1 year. So I don't know, with him not being in the surveyor's office, why he's even still on there. And then you've got two from the two different hospitals.
From the
One
what?
from Ascension and one from Community.
Okay.
So, in all, there was nothing that came out of this meeting that gives me hope that they're going to come back and give you some answers.
Yeah. When's the next meeting?
The next meeting is in July. And I don't remember the date off the top of my
They have a next
head.
meeting on the 11th.
It's July. No, June 11th is put on by the people at Lapel, and they're going to come up with a plan to fight this project. And believe me, the community needs to attend that, because you need to have, after doing the whole LKQ project, you need to have that. I've done the best I can to give you the information that you need. I think we need trails, but this has not been a good thought out plan. I am for exercise. I want people to get out and move, but this has not been processed very well, people.
The problem is no one's against trails. Let's just make it make sense. It's just, let's make it make sense. If they're going to spend some money, find out if there's other ways to do it, or ways, I don't know. I think that there are some bigger, serious needs in Madison County that the ARP money could be used on instead of these crazy ones.
Like anything, Christopher, you can't put lipstick on a pig.
Yeah, right.
Even if it's $4 million worth of lipstick.
It's always still going to look like Madison County, folks.
I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, until you get people who can effectively have a vision, who can effectively see further down the road. I mean, here's the instance. I don't know what the commissioners and the county council were thinking when they allowed Stephanie Mellinger to buy an RV. It's not that rural in Madison County. I'm telling you right now. She's taking that thing 4 blocks from the health department and opening up, maybe getting, 2 or 3 people on there. Okay. It makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
If we were in West Virginia, I think it'd make a lot more sense.
That's
But,
what Madison County
so
does
what
make sense.
happens shortly after we get the RV? It breaks down.
Yeah.
So what is she saying now? I need money to the maintenance of these. Well, everybody knows what RV stands for. It stands for ruined vacation.
Yeah, right.
I mean, the thing's expensive. Then what do? They let her build a pole barn from scratch to house the RV. Well, there weren't going to be any bathrooms. There weren't going to be any offices in there until I threw a fit about it. And then they're like, okay, well, we'll put a couple offices out there and a classroom and stuff, so it makes it look a little bit more legit.
Yeah.
So it was perfectly fine being over in the EMA building. It had plenty of room in there. I show it with the beer cooler morgue. It's not like there was no cramping space in there. There was plenty of room over there.
Sure.
So they get this pole barn. So now you have to maintain the building, the utilities, all of that, right? So you've got the regular health department that's in downtown. You got this pole barn that's just a couple miles from the health department. Now you got the RV. Well, listen, as if that weren't enough, now we've got a place in Elwood that's only open for 6 hours a day. And when I say a day, 1 day a week.
Yeah.
Take that RV up there and then have that be your 1 day a week.
Yeah,
so
right.
Now the county council, with ARPA money, Health First money, with all this money that's been thrown at them, now has to maintain 4 things for the health department.
Oh, that's totally insane.
4 entities. That is ludicrous. That is reckless, and that is irresponsible.
Absolutely.
Because we have to have insurance on that RV. We have to pay for a driver for that RV. This is craziness.
Yes.
And you wonder why our taxes are going so high? Because people are allowing it. This only continues because the people allow it to continue.
Yeah.
So I know there was a lot of information tonight. There's a lot more on my webpage. I encourage people.
She means Facebook.
I will try to put as much out as I can. What's Jackie asking? So are these
no, the same as Park Board in the city of Muncie. They are not being paid. Anderson has a master plan been developed that addresses trails, exercise opportunities.
And they have their own park.
City, county.
Yeah,
Then they've got
Anderson
their own
has
parks. Yeah. And I think I would bet they do have I bet Anderson has a master plan. Yes.
They do.
Very much like City of Muncie.
They do.
I would assume that the county has not consulted that or reached out to the Anderson Park Board, which would make sense to me to do. That's what I would do if I was the president of a newly 17-month-old newly formed board that was going to do that. I would be like, well, let's see what our city counterparts are doing and maybe try to do that. That might make sense. So,
well, thank you, Aaron, for saying that. I appreciate that. And at the end of the day, everybody, this doesn't affect me. The trail does not affect me. I want to be very clear with that. Monroe Township's drain, it doesn't affect me directly. Financially, it is going to affect me because I pay a lot of property taxes in this county. I own a lot of real estate, right? So it is going to affect me one way or the other. But at the end of the day, who it affects most, it affects my patients.
Yeah.
And that's what I have a problem for.
And
I signed up to be a nurse, signed up to be a patient advocate. And if I'm going to advocate for them in my office, I need to advocate for them outside of the office. So I just want everybody to understand that that's why I'm so passionate about this. And I'm even more passionate about the fact that this county and the people, their votes matter when we have an election. I'm not sure why they don't matter once they're dead.
Their voice.
And they should have a place to rest. Family members should have a place to come identify bodies and examined. We have a case right now that was completely screwed up with a murder issue. It should have never slipped through the coroner's office. We have another case where we had a misidentified body. Whether people like it or not, at the end of the day, these are issues that cannot just be swept under the rug. These are important issues. These are people's lives.
Issues that can be swept into the crematorium.
Right there. And so at the end of the day, I would have just given me a morgue. I would have just taken part of the ARPA money and given me a morgue. And yes, I know several people are tired of hearing it. Probably Bethany Keller's tired of hearing about it. Probably Jody Norrick's tired of hearing about it. Probably the commissioners are tired of hearing about it. But you know what? Until we respect the dead, they're going to continue to hear about it. Because in my world, I want to learn from the dead to protect the living.
I was going to say, until we respect the dead, they're going to continue rising, eating your brains.
So that's kind of why I got passionate about this, because it wasn't okay. I hope everybody got some information tonight. I hope you will hold people accountable. I hope you'll start looking at ARPA funds just a little bit more carefully.
Yeah.
Nicole does a great job. She's been looking into ARPA money. She's been holding people accountable. So, I hope to see people in
Tuesday,
Madison
June
County
10th.
on Tuesday, June 10th at the county council meeting. It's at 6 p.m. And the commissioner's court there. It's open to the public. There's no pay for parking, so please come out. And then June 11th, many of you will be able to attend the organization meeting there for the parks to push back against this. And it's not a negative thing to push back. It just needs to go somewhere else. And that's the bottom line with that. Because and I'm going to go out and do a Facebook Live at some point. Maybe I'll do it on Tuesday if I'm done with work early enough. This project will start not even a half a block from Diana and Wes Lycan's home. The reason why, and their home would be east of 8th and Layton, right? Which if we took it back, we'd go to Rabel and we could connect to the park trails in Anderson.
Yeah.
But this would go through their driveway. And I don't think they're going to allow that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So, but until we get out there and I give you a visual of it, you won't get it. And so I'm going to have to go out there and take a look at it.
Yeah, that'd be big.
And my other big concern is this ends at the cemetery.
Yeah.
Just think what can happen out there with headstones and other things.
I don't have people walk the cemetery. I don't have a problem with that.
It may be fine. It may be fine. I don't know, but there's no good turnaround there at that cemetery to come back. I'm just saying it's just a major road out there. So we need to have a better plan.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And on Tuesday, I would really like to go to that meeting. Kate sayonara'd out of here a little early this evening because we've been talking for 5.5 hours. But if I can get her to do what I need to do with the show on Tuesday, I might go to that meeting, and she should be able to, unless she's got some magical mystery tour to go on. But she should be able to do that. So if so, I'll come to that meeting on Tuesday, because I'd like to come to that meeting and find out what the hell they're going to do with that secret meeting afterwards. So we'll keep you posted there. We'll play that meeting. We'll live stream the council meeting as we always do here, one way or another, whether I go or not. But we will find out what goes on there. We'll see what goes on. Tomorrow night, I've got something big in store for y'all. So we'll go from there. Anything else?
No, I just appreciate people tuning in and listening to us. And I just want you to know, 37 people were watching before we started the video, and they're still there now. Ta-da! Nobody left. Yay! I hope everybody has a great week this week. Yeah. I just want you to know that. So
you're just talking about the YouTube people.
I'm going to have a great week.
Those people are the YouTube people. And we're going to figure out your Facebook shit too. Okay. All right. You guys, thank you for being here. Catherine will stay right there. I'll be right back with you. You guys take care. Have a good evening. Hey, since we didn't say it really well before we got to talking, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, do all that shit. You know what to do. Follow us on the social medias. It's all there. You can find it there. And we'll be back. We'll be back, obviously, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, as we are always here Sunday through Thursday at 9 p.m. You guys take care. God bless each and every one of you. Have a wonderful start to the work week. Did the Pacers win or lose? I think they probably lost. I didn't hear anything major. So, all right, you guys take care. God bless, and see you later.